will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause.
We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick.
No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious action. Staying home.
Staying home saves lives.
I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it.
All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my. You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first connect in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment? Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't
you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The president has committed an unspeakable assault on our nation. I joined the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the vice president to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment.
Seems a bit drastic.
There are hundreds of thousands were on the mall who believe that this election was stolen from him and were for him to be removed from office either from within his administration or by Congress would only enrage those people further. So I think that's a last resort.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
With had Lindsey Graham out there tweeting, be safe and nobody be violent. You know what? Please be quiet, Lindsey Graham. You built this. People get mad and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
So now we find out that Marty Walsh, the mayor of Boston, was not Joe Biden's first choice for Secretary of Labor. He originally, Dementia Joe, wanted to appoint Bernie Sanders, who not only has never been a member of a union, but has never had a job in his life. it didn't seem like a good fit. But again, Dementia Joe, that's the way it goes. He didn't want to jeopardize the new Senate, quote unquote, majority in the United States Senate. So here it is, cut 16.
I did give serious consideration on nominating my friend Bernie Sanders to this position. I'm confident he could have done a fantastic job. I can think of no more passionate, devoted ally to working people in this country. But after Tuesday's results in Georgia, giving Democratic control to the United States Senate and a tie vote, Bernie and I agreed. As a matter of fact, Bernie said we can't put control of the Senate at risk on the outcome of a special election in Vermont.
Again, think about that, though, that they wanted to make the Secretary of Labor a guy who never had a job, a real job in his life, let alone been a member of a union. So Biden introduces Marty Walsh with a dumb Irish joke. Here we go, cut 15.
For Secretary of Labor, I nominated a good friend and a stand-up guy, Marty Walsh of Boston, son of Irish immigrants. From his only downside, they're not from Mayo, they're from Galway. From Galway, moved to Boston. Marty was born and raised in Dorchester. I know him, tough as nails.
He's the son of and incidentally, I just tweeted out the latest report of the Office of Campaign and Political Finance in Boston. And the son of Irish, he currently has on hand in his campaign account $6,189,899.72. He's the $6 million man. And, they're asking, well, he's got these little scandals at City Hall in his background. Grace was just asking me about that on the crossover. But, who cares about that stuff? What I would do if I were a senator, Democrat or Republican, and when he comes up for the confirmation hearing, I'd say, Mayor, what are you going to do with that $6.2 million? I know technically you could keep it and say you're keeping your political options open, and your political options for the rest of your life will boil down to whether you're going to go out to the Ritz-Carlton or the or Capitol Grill for dinner. What the sunny place for shady people are you going to visit next weekend during the cold winter? Where are you going to buy a house on the Cape? Who are you going to hire as your campaign consultants? He doesn't have any kids, so he can't do what they often do. They hire oftentimes these Pauls that leave office with millions in their accounts in Massachusetts. They hire their kids as quote unquote campaign consultants. Just ask the late Mayor Kevin White. That's what he did. But anyway, we'll talk more about this. And the mayor's race is now going to be wide open, and they've got they could end up, if they don't change the laws in Massachusetts, in Boston for mayoral succession, they could end up with 2 mayoral fights in 4 months. They could have one in July or August, and then they could have another one in November. And the one in the summer would be one where you wouldn't have to give up your seat in the city council. So all 13 city councilors will be running, probably 10 or 12 other elected politicians, state reps, state senators. It would be a real circular firing squad, but I don't think they're going to do that. Anyway, 844-500-4242.
Mr. President-elect, Madam President, Vice President-elect, I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve the American people. The word labor means everything to me.
What a joke.
As you mentioned earlier, Mr. President-elect.
He's a pinky ring guy, I mean, I assume he's worked a little bit as a laborer, but not much. He was elected to the legislature when he was in his 20s. And he was on Beacon Hill, he was the chairman of the House Ethics Committee. Now, you don't put a guy in charge of the House Ethics Committee if you think he's going to rock the boat, obviously, right? Not if you're one of the House speakers, who Three were indicted and convicted of federal felonies. The fourth was a unindicted co-conspirator. Give me a break. But he's a laborer now, a laborer. He got elected with labor money. Sure, he sure did. Again, the International Brotherhood of Cement Workers in the Bronx or Queens, or both in the Bronx and in Queens, and on Staten Island. All right, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. 339. Is Marty going to give the big guy a cut of that $6 million? That's a good question. No, who knows? Who knows? Hunter, if Hunter got $6 million, he'd have to give 50% to the big guy. That's what he said in the email. I'm not saying anything that isn't on the public record. The Hunter said that, not me. So anyway, this morning, one of the listeners, Session, actually, you've heard Session. He calls in sometimes. He found a great letter to President Trump that was posted on the internet, a letter of thank you to President Trump. And I posted it, and it's really taken off. It's gotten it's gotten like 19,000 likes. But I'm just going to read it to you. It's been a tough week, and you may be somewhat down, but this letter sums up, I think, what a lot of people, including myself, are thinking about the 4 years that have happened just now, that are endings, unfortunately. I'm going to read the whole thing here, and it's again, we tweeted it out. So if you go to @Howie Carr Show, you can read it and pass it on. Dear President Trump, I want to take a minute to say thank you. Regardless of the outcome of this election, you deserve my gratitude. Thank you for not plunging my brothers and sisters into another war. Thank you for walking through hell and back for the American people. Thank you for doing it for free. Thank you for working through the night while my family was tucked safely in bed. Thank you for standing strong and staring adversity in the face. Thank you for keeping God in the country I love. Thank you for not breaking down when the weight of the world was against you. This is an anonymous letter posted on the internet today. Thank you for putting your family in the line of fire when you didn't have to. Thank you for standing up for women. Thank you for not being a politician. Thank you for being raw, and even sometimes too much. Thank you for standing up for the unborn. Thank you for caring about the little guy. Thank you for working harder than any president in my lifetime ever has. Thank you for your service to this country. You were part of some of the greatest days of my life. Thank you. Win or lose, I am a fan. You have fulfilled every promise you have made to me, and for that, I am thankful. May God always bless you and your family. From a grateful nation, thank you. That's a good letter. Good letter. And we could talk more about this when we come back. What are you thankful for? And he did do a great job. He has done a great job, and I'm very happy that I voted for him twice. Very happy that I know him, and I'm saddened that he's not been reelected. I'm saddened about the circumstances under which he was not reelected, shall we say? But I will be grateful for these last 4 years and what he was able to accomplish on my behalf and your behalf and the behalf of all the American people, whether they realize it or not. 844-500-4242. I recently had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but was reminded of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer and a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. We're in a climate right now where a lot of people don't want to go into the city for obvious reasons. Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, just off the interstate highway. Parking is plentiful, and it's free. I was impressed when I went there last summer during my dental emergency to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols they've taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. And indeed, some of the actual changes that they've made make the visits to the dentist now more pleasurable than they were before, believe it or not. To see for yourself and get your perfect smile, call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile, change your life. I'm Howie Carr.
You're tuned into the Howie Carr Radio Network.
Thanks. You can let the lines open up.
Jared Diglio, what would be your last meal on Earth?
Pizza. Cheese pizza. Just regular cheese pizza.
What drink are you going to have with your pizza?
I gotta go Coke. You gotta go Coke with pizza. It's the perfect combination.
Where's your favorite vacation spot?
I'm a staycation kind of guy. I like just staying in my place, but if I had to go to a destination, I love Italy, especially Rome.
If you could live in any state besides Massachusetts, which one would you choose?
Nevada. Wide open land. People leave you alone.
Put these in there,
Plus, it's
too,
not that far
because
from Vegas
I
or
don't know
LA.
if we'll be using them
If you were
right
in
today.
radio,
but just-
what profession would you be in?
Gigolo.
Favorite comic book character?
Spider-Man. He's been my favorite since I was a kid. He's the most identifiable of the superheroes. He's just kind of a normal guy who's got a lot of problems, but he's got to overcome it and save the day.
Favorite Star Trek character?
I love TNG, but I got to go with James T. Kirk.
Dogs or cats?
Neither.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love.
What time's Grace going to do the news today?
Will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick.
No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home.
Staying home saves lives.
I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it.
All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my.
Howie, I'm going to play a Biden cut. Listen very closely.
Mother of mercy. Is this the end of Rico?
Howie Carr is back.
That's what I am looking forward to. Him leaving office. I was told that on the way over here, that he indicated he wasn't going to show up at the inauguration. One of the few things he and I have ever agreed on. It's a good thing I'm not showing up.
They posted the most popular columns of mine last year at the Herald, and along with everything else. And some of the most popular columns that I ran, that the Herald ran last year, were the Joe Biden saying things like that. So he's glad he's not going to be showing up at the inauguration. Well, we're all glad too. If that's the plan, Joe, we're all glad too. We don't want Kamala being sworn in, though. Why don't you just let Trump and Mike Pence handle it? How'd you like to keep an extra $961 a year in your pocket? That's how much Gabby customers save per year on average on car and home insurance. See how much Gabby can save you at Gabby.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will there be an impeachment vote in the House next week?
Yes, I think they're going to try to do that. I'm going to say they're going to succeed in doing that.
42% say yes.
You see, Catherine Clark, it's really bad if you're Ron Mariano, the new Speaker of the House, because he's an insider and he's played an inside game to rise to the top as Speaker of the House of Representatives. But Catherine Clark, who's not even from Massachusetts originally, she's from Colorado. She drifted in here, and now she's in Congress, and she's like the number 4 person, the whip or the assistant whip. She took Markey's seat when he graduated to the Senate or was institutionalized in the Senate. She was the one saying today, we're definitely going to have an impeachment vote. Great. It's wonderful, though, when Catherine Clark decides, Catherine Clark, she rose to the top. She played the insider game. Isn't that fabulous? Ron Mariano played the inside game. Isn't that horrible? The double standards are not just Republican Democrat. There are fantastic Democrats like a Catherine Clark, like the Catherine Clark from Massachusetts by way of Colorado, Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts by way of Oklahoma. And then there are the bad Democrats like Ron Mariano. Jerry, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, Howie. I need some help with some math. All right?
Yes.
Originally, the stimulus, which was given out to everyone, was $600.
Yes.
And now Biden comes out today and says, okay, another $2,000.
Yes.
They were arguing about the $2,000. Shouldn't it be $1,400? Or is this, again, the way the Democrats do math?
This is why the stock market has been going up, Jerry, because they're just going to print money. And as Kevin Frisbee, the financial wizard, said yesterday, I mean, if this doesn't end at some point, it's going to cause inflation. I mean, there's no way it can't cause inflation. And I think the bigger dispute about the $2,000 was not so much that Americans, can't use $2,000, but tucked into the $2,000 for Americans was billions, hundreds of billions of dollars for foreign countries. There was a bill that bill was almost 6,000 pages long. So they had every special interest pork barrel bit of legislation that had been stacking up probably for years was all tossed in there. When the British set up the Indian subcontinent, they partitioned it between India and Pakistan, and they set up all the the ways that over 1 billion people probably even then were going to be ruled. It was 300 pages, and this pork barrel legislation was 6,000 pages. What does that tell you? That's not legislation. It's just pigs slopping down at the trough. Thanks for the call, Jerry. Margaret, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Margaret.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
Thanks for reading that letter. Oh my, I was starting to cry here. Gee, that was nice about the thank you to Donald.
Yeah, it is a nice letter.
Where can we see that? Where can we see that?
Yeah, at HowieCarrShow.com. I tweeted it out, and I just got a call before I went on the air. Sebastian Gorka called me, and he said, "That was a beautiful letter you wrote, Howie." And I laughed. I said, "Sebastian, who do you think I am, Mike Barnacle? I didn't write that letter. I I didn't even say I wrote it, But it's right there. Just go to HowieCarrShow.com, and we can probably put that on our website too, Taylor, can't we?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, we'll put it on the website as well. If you're not into Twitter, we'll have it on the website very, very shortly. And again, whoever did it, if somebody wants to step forward and take credit for it, I'll be glad to give them credit. But it's just a nice letter, very simple and direct and to the point. And he mentions a lot of the things I think a lot of us have been thinking about, maybe not even consciously, but have just been, sort of sad that it's going to come to an end because we do appreciate it so much. Steve, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Steve.
How you doing, Howie?
Good.
I got a question about this student loan forgiveness package.
Yes.
I have 3 kids. I work in the automotive field.
Yeah.
And I put them all through college on my dime by working extra hours.
That makes 2 of us.
And now,
Yeah.
yeah, I have a neighbor not too far down my street who has 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Who are in student loan debts. He's all excited that it's going to be forgiven. Meanwhile, he has 3 collector cars that I worked on and always drives either a brand new or a year or 2 older vehicle.
I know. It makes no sense. If he can get his kids' student loans forgiven, why can't you or I get our mortgages forgiven, our car payments forgiven? How about delinquent credit card bills? Can we get those forgiven? What's the difference? You know, it's not like these degrees that they're learning how to cure cancer or save babies. They're not they're not learning anything in these institutions of higher learning. It's very frustrating. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Like most companies, we here at Matthews Brothers are pretty proud of our website. Not so proud.
Howie, what do you think about just reading that letter for the Morning Minute?
Yeah, you want me to do that?
That'd be perfect.
That's good. Okay, I'll do that. You want me to do it right now?
Give me a minute to let this commercial.
Okay.
Application that allows you to completely remodel the exterior of your house. Play with different colors and styles to design the virtual home of your dreams. You'll have hours of fun this winter creating such visual masterpieces as a spruce green window with barn red sash and gray 4.5-inch banded casing and historic sill nosing. Then, once the thrill of that is worn off, you can play with the roofing and siding. You can learn more about our wicked awesome Maine-made windows and doors, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with 1 T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I can't tell you how many times in the past couple of months somebody I know has told me a story.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friend.
All right, Howie, go ahead.
Okay. I got an anonymous letter Friday from the internet, and it was a thank you note. What we all feel, or most of us feel, about the last 4 years. I'm going to read it right now. This is, again, anonymous from the internet. Dear President Trump, I want to take a minute to say thank you. Regardless of the outcome of this election, you deserve my gratitude. Thank you for not plunging my brothers and sisters into another war. Thank you for walking through hell and back for the American people. Thank you for doing it for free. Thank you for working through the night while my family was tucked safely away in bed. Thank you for standing strong and staring adversity in the face. Thank you for keeping God in the country I love. Thank you for not backing down when the weight of the world was against you. Thank you for putting your family in the line of fire when you didn't have to. Thank you for standing up for women. Again, this is an anonymous thank you note to President Trump. It continues. Thank you for not being a politician. Thank you for being raw and sometimes even too much. Thank you for standing up for the unborn. Thank you for caring about the little guy. Thank you for working harder than any president in my lifetime ever has. Thank you for your service to this Thank you for your service to this great country. You were part of some of the greatest days of my life. Thank you. Win or lose, I am a fan. You have fulfilled every promise you have made to me, and for that I am thankful, Mr. President. May God always bless you and your family. From a grateful nation, thank you. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, for a great 4 years. Listen to the Howie Carr Show today at 3.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have
you put it on the website yet, Taylor?
50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys. Angry white man.
Angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote.
All these angry white people.
Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's incel.
They tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist. The credulous boomer rube demo.
Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Grace has wrapped up her first week, but she'll be back with us later today with a Police Blotter Facts Friday, as she always does. She won't be giving that up. And she will also continue to do Grace's News, and it's now that time of the day for Grace's News. Right?
Hello, Howie Carr. Thank you for having me, and thank you for everyone who did tune in for the first week of the Grace Curley Show. Not a slow news week. I wish it would actually slow down just a little bit. But Howie, it's coming out now that Trump revealed he will not attend the Biden inauguration after admitting defeat. That's the headline in the New York Post. And I just wanted to know your take on it. Do you think he should go to the inauguration?
I think we've done that as a poll question at least once, maybe twice. I never thought he should go to the inauguration.
It would kind of be phony because it's what's the point? You know what I mean? We know that he doesn't think it's legit. We know that he doesn't like Joe Biden. So what would be the point of him sitting there? Right. He's not exactly the kind of guy who does things to make people happy.
Right. I mean, Hillary Clinton didn't want to go either, and she went. But she's also not just the defeated candidate. She's the wife of a former president. And also, she was beat fair and square. I mean, this was not a legit. This was not a real victory, I don't think.
And I will get back to that in a second, Howie. But first, I want to ask you, because I've had a few texts from people today who want to know if you think they will move forward and impeach the president again with only, I think, 13 days left in office.
I think they're going to. I mean, they're not going to remove him. Obviously, they're not going to be able to do that. But I think that the virtue signaling. Very narrow Democrat majority in the House is going to, at least try to do it. Yeah, I think they're going to. I think if they can do it, they can do it. They're going to do it. Yes.
And my next question for you, I'm full of questions today because I really don't know a lot of. I want to know more about what's going to happen, but I'm getting different answers from a lot of different people. Howie, did you hear this story about how Nancy Pelosi? We know she called Mike Pence. And he wouldn't return her phone call, unfortunately for her. But she also called General Milley to block the unhinged Trump from using the nuclear codes.
Oh, my God.
Did you hear this? You didn't hear this story?
No, I did hear. I just saw the headline. It was just so absurd that I couldn't even read the story. This is a guy, we were just reading the letter. Thank you for not getting us into all these crazy wars like both Democrats and Republicans, the uniparty, the deep state has gotten us into and apparently relishes having us in these wars. And so now she's worried about he's going to get us into a war. I mean, again, it's projection. They're the ones who get us into these wars, not Donald Trump. He's America first.
Well, the other funny thing is that they keep calling for unity and, ushering in this new decent era. And it's it's so funny because they can't even practice it for like 13 days. They can't say, all right, you know what? He's going to be gone in 13 days. If they really wanted to unite the country, wouldn't you take a pass on the second impeachment? But they can't help themselves. They have to overplay their hand every single time.
Grace, don't you understand? They all want to have $6.2 million like Marty Walsh has in his account. This is a great way to fundraise. That's what it's all about.
It pays to be Marty Walsh. It really does.
Yeah, he's a laboring man. He's a working class hero. It's something to be, as John Lennon once said. That's Marty Walsh, a working class hero.
But Howie, I heard the opening of the show and you played the joke from Joe Biden. These jokes I would call them stale, but it doesn't even do it justice. Is that supposed to be funny? Is that like I'm an Irish person. I'm an Irish girl. And I don't get that. Like, his family, the only bad thing is that they're from Galway or whatever. What is this?
I thought he was from Wales.
I don't even know.
There aren't any coal mines, in Ireland. They got the peat bogs. What the hell? He's very confused. I love that cut, though, where he says he's not going to go to his own inauguration. Can we hear that one again? That's one of those sound cuts you're not going to hear tonight on the network news.
I've got to find it. Give me a minute.
Okay, we'll get it in a moment here.
He's not going to go to his own inauguration. I missed that one.
By the way, did you see John Kelly, who was the chief of staff? He's a Brighton guy, and he's from Boston, and a former Marine general. And he said that he would vote to remove, if he was still in the cabinet or had a vote under the 25th Amendment. I'm not even sure I don't think he would have had a vote under the 25th Amendment, but he said he would vote to remove Trump as president because he's not mentally capable of handling the job. Well, Trump's not mentally capable of handling the job, but listen to this sound cut from Joe Biden. Listen carefully.
That's what I am looking forward to. Him leaving office. I was told that on the way over here, that he indicated he wasn't going to show up at the inauguration. One of the few things he and I have ever agreed on. It's a good thing I'm not showing up.
Not showing up.
It would be a good thing if you weren't showing up.
But I hope people who for the last 4 years have, hemmed and hawed every time Trump had a mean tweet about somebody. And, I hope this is worth it for them, that we're going to have this guy his mind is completely shot. And but it's going to make people feel better, Howie, because everything's going back to normal.
So in other words, they'll be surveilling reporters. They'll be harassing conservative groups with the Internal Revenue Service. They'll be trying to frame aides to rival candidates. This is the new normal. They'll be having hit lists in the Oval Office for people to be taken out. The vice president will be suggesting who they can try to frame with the Logan Act, which is unconstitutional, has never been used to convict somebody. This is their idea of normality.
Well, it's funny because the rush to silence conservative voices right after, and Howie and I have said this multiple times, we do not condone the violence that happened at the Capitol, but the immediate reaction from the left and the media, but I repeat myself, is, we have to deplatform these people. We have to take away their book deals. We have to silence them. It's like, well, if Trump is such a loser and such an idiot, which, they keep repeating over and over again, then why don't you just let him finish it out? What are you so afraid of? And if all these people are, so evil that voted for Trump, then I just don't understand why you can't have them on the platform. Why are you so? And you know what, Howie? I think it was Allie Beth Stuckey tweeted today. If you're confident in your ideas and you think you have good ideas, you're not afraid to debate ideas. You don't have to shut down conversation. It's only if you think that people won't like your ideas that you have to force them on people.
Did you see who this guy is who canceled Josh Hawley's book, the publisher of Simon and Schuster?
Oh, it was one guy?
Yeah, his name is Jonathan Karp. I'm looking at his picture. He looks like looks like you would expect Jonathan Karp to look like. Would you care to guess, Grace, if he donates to Democrats or Republicans?
Oh man, I would not be able to even assume where he donates his money.
Karp donated $350 to Beto O'Rourke, who wants to take away your your AR-15, or as Joe Biden calls it, the AR-14. Maybe he has a different version. In addition, Carp also donated $350 to a Democrat PAC labeled People Powered Action. So a Democrat donor is head of the company that canceled a Republican senator's book deal. And you know, this Simon & Schuster has another book on its list right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it's called?
What?
Cancel This Book: The Progressive Case Against Cancel Culture. It hasn't been. It's going to be released in April. Maybe they should cancel that book too, since they're printing an anti-canceling book at the same time they've canceled a book by a conservative senator.
But Howie, you've always said this since I started working here, that, you know, it's a slippery slope when you start silencing people or censoring people. And that's why on this show, we've always said, whether it's, you know, extreme left or extreme right, let people say what they're going to say. If anything, if it's that bad, what people are saying, then people will see it and they'll understand that it's bad and they'll, you know, walk away from it. But once you start censoring people, and Howie, did you see the model Emily Ratajkowski? She's a model, and she's a Bernie babe, I guess you'd call her, not a Bernie bro. But she tweeted today, you know, if they can censor, or if they can silence the president of the United States, they can silence anyone. She's not a fan of Donald Trump, but she just tweeted that out, and the comments were like, "He should be silenced. How dare you? This is what you decide to talk about today." Like they're ready to cancel her for bringing up the idea of censoring people.
Some British actor, I guess he's a left-winger too, and he said these people, these mobs, he said, remind him of the medieval era, when they, you know, if somebody got sick or died or something weird happened, these mobs would just take to the street and look and just try to, and if they saw somebody who looked the wrong way, they'd just take him out and burn him at the stake, or lynch him, or throw him in, you know, weight him down with rocks and throw him into a stream. I mean, this is terrible what they're doing. I mean, these are basically high. You know, Clarence Thomas talked about the high-tech lynch mobs. These are high-tech lynch mobs out there.
Right. And you have to be able to, you know, have civil discourse. I think that if this week has showed us anything, it's that. And I don't think canceling people's book deals and taking them off social media. Michelle Obama said she thinks that they should take Trump off Facebook and Twitter. And it's really Orwellian and scary. Howie, I will be back today for Police Blotter Facts Friday. Thank you to everyone who listened to the show this week. And thank you for having me on, Howie.
Thank you, Grace. 844-500-4242. There's one other thing I want to get to here as long as we're talking about this. ABC News, they have a political director named Rick Klein. And he's calling for a cleansing of the Trump movement. This is a tweet that he put out. Trump will be an ex-president in 13 days. The fact is that getting rid of Trump is the easy part. Cleansing the movement he commands is going to be something else. Cleansing? Is cleansing anything like ethnic cleansing? Suppose he had said he wanted to cleanse the BLM or the Antifa.
Is that a dog whistle, Howie?
Cleanse. It's the following that tweet became unavailable. I wonder why. We should try to get Rick Klein on to talk about are there any other groups you'd like to cleanse? How do you know who you want to cleanse from the society, Mr. Klein? All right. Joe Biden will be the next president. That means the cost of energy, all in this energy, is going through the roof. He and Kamala Harris talked about it all through the campaign. Goodbye fracking, so long coal. I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but your home heating bills are about to start skyrocketing this year, potentially costing you hundreds of dollars more a month. But Eden Pure has a heater. Look at it right now on social media. Look at that. That's the Gen 30. That will save you up to 50% on your heating bills. The Eden Pure Gen 30 Classic infrared heater uses state-of-the-art infrared heat to warm you to the core. It's even been proven to keep you warmer than your furnace and save you money on your heating bills every month.
The best thing about these heaters, any of the heating products from Eden Pure, they're light, they're easily portable. There are other heaters out there, you know, they They're very heavy. They're tough to take from room to room. So you end up buying several of them. This, you only need to buy one. You can take it anywhere you want. You can buy more if you want, but it's so easy to transport and heat just one room.
It is, and it doesn't dry you out, unlike so many earlier space heaters. It doesn't dry out the air in the room. If you have pets or young kids around, you don't need to worry about the heater tipping over and catching fire. The Gen 30 heater has an automatic safety tip-over shutoff feature. With real wood surrounding the heater, it will look beautiful in your room too. Get ready for the polar vortex and don't be caught with huge heating bills. This sale is 1 week only, so go to EdenPure.com and put in code HowieDeal. You'll receive an extra $25 off their lowest sales price and free shipping with code word HowieDeal. This is a great deal, so order now at EdenPure.com. Eden Pure, never be cold again. I'm Howie Carr.
He's making talk radio great again. He's Howie Carr.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about
so we'll take some more calls in this segment.
Major cities going underwater.
You know, I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared, and a lot of young people are even suffering from. They're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
Taylor.
It is a bill that...
Yeah.
We're to have Turtle Boy on at 6 to talk about this Rachel Rollins police report.
Okay.
I just I heard about it this afternoon. I called him. He knows we're going to be calling him. So, but just maybe you call him and just tell him we'll have him on at like I don't know, 6:08.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks.
And security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, you know, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Excitable? You bet I'm excitable. We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs. Someone starts telling us fairy tales, and we're listening.
Howie Carr is back.
508 says, I want to thank President Trump for what he's about to go through in the coming years. That's a good chance, too. 413, President Trump said he'll announce the list of pardons on the 19th. They'll impeach him sooner. Shouldn't he announce now? I tell you, there's a lot of people knocking on doors, making all kinds of calls, asking for pardons. And a lot of these people that they're asking for, they really do deserve it. They did, in some cases, they were railroaded into prison. We know all know cases like that. In some cases, they've served enough time to make up for whatever offenses they did commit. And I hope he grants a lot of pardons. Actually, I don't have too many problems with any of the pardons he's granted so far. I can't think of any problems I have. Maybe I wouldn't have pardoned Jared Kushner's father, but he served some time. They humiliated him enough. I don't understand the thing about pardons, but if you're not in jail or prison, I don't. What does a pardon really mean? I guess I've talked with people who wanted pardons desperately, even though they were out and they had tons of money. But I guess it's just a personal thing. You want your record cleansed. Arthur, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Arthur.
Thanks, Howie. First, for the public, as I like to do in these tough times, give them some investment. And this weekend, Ohio State will upset Alabama. Take the points with Cleveland, take the points with Washington, and take the points with Indianapolis. That said,
I think Cleveland is I think I agree with you on Cleveland. I don't know about that college game.
It's a cinch, okay? They get the wrong team favorite. Every time Alabama's been a 7-point favorite, they never win. And that line is too high as it is, and it's going up. So Monday night.
Come on, move on.
Go on, Arthur. Come on. What did you want to say?
Okay. Hey, let me ask you a question. 9 months, my business has been shut, and all these other people, so many people I know have shut down, and there are some really sad stories, which I won't go into, with what people have done to themselves. They want to give us $600. How about an EBT card?
Arthur, didn't you hear Charlie Parker say yesterday, this is an incredibly difficult decision to keep Arthur and everybody else in the state unemployed and in poverty? Don't you appreciate how incredibly difficult it is for him as he cashes his paycheck?
Yeah, and every other government worker.
It's just outrageous. I mean, it's horrible enough you're doing this, but don't tell me how tough you have it. Don't sing the blues. You don't have a right to sing the blues if you haven't missed a paycheck here. Thanks for the call, Arthur. Sharon, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Sharon.
Hi, Howie. Thanks for taking the call. I just want to say there's one thing that was left out, the Abram Accord. And when Wednesday's little so be it, whatever they call it, in Washington was happening, Steve Mnuchin signed Sudan on to that Abraham Accord, and nobody heard about it.
You know what? That's true. Yeah, thanks for doing more to bring peace to the Middle East than all of the last 4 presidents combined. How about that? That would have been a good line to put in. You're absolutely right, Sharon.
And Bethlehem as the capital of Israel, which is a biblical, and which every...
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Sharon. Pete, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Pete.
Senior Howie, how are you today?
Good.
Good. Look, I just want to quickly, throw out this idea of moral relativism. Welcome to the new world. I mean, you're not going to win an argument, with these liberals with their moral relativism. Yeah. You just take a look at BLM and what they got away with and what happened at the Capitol. Okay, everything is relative. BLM was good. Capitol was bad. You're never going to win an argument.
You know another word they use other than moral relativism? You know another word they use? Whataboutism. They say, this is, so if you bring up, wait, wasn't BLM and Antifa much worse and much more violent, many more deaths? They do this, Charlie Parker was doing it today. Cut 8. You got it?
I don't have time.
We don't have time. We'll get to it later on. He says, I hate this whataboutism. Whataboutism means you're being called out. And now they're not calling us just racist. Now we're traitors. Traitor is the new racist. Today, anyway. I'm Howie Carr.
As this year of COVID draws to a close, it's time to make sure your portfolio is ready for whatever happens next. Kevin Frisbee and the team at Frisbee & Associates are ready to help you. It's called the 100-100 Challenge. If you have $100,000 saved for retirement and come in for that no-cost, no-obligation consultation, you'll walk out with $100 cash. That's right, $100 just to let Kevin do a portfolio x-ray and see what might be hiding in your current plan. Call now for your no-cost or obligation consultation, and you could walk out with $100 cash. Call 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100. Kevin is a true fiduciary. That means by law, he's always working in your best interest. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for a market review and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams. Call Kevin Frisbee today, 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable. They are not getting paid 163. Was it 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first connect in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly. And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book. I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper. If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al-Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here are some rapid fire questions with Taylor Cormier. If you had to live in a state besides Massachusetts, which would you choose?
Montana. No question about it. When is the last time you've heard of anything happening in Montana? The answer is you haven't. It's quiet. Nobody's going to bother you in Montana.
If you weren't a radio guy, what profession would you be in?
My number one dream job is to be an antique dealer. You know, like the American Pickers. I would love that job. Going through people's old garbage and junk and trying to find that diamond in the rough, and you're always learning as you go. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I think that's why I go antiquing on the weekends.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite TV show?
The Honeymooners. Jackie Gleason is the most hilarious person on television ever.
What is your favorite soda?
I'm not a big soda guy. It's got to be a special occasion for me to drink soda, but I'm partial to Dr. Pepper.
You've been hearing me talk about super beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure.
Howie, what do you think the chances are that Rachel will call in right after Turtle Boy?
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think she will.
No, I don't think she will either. I think he usually gets back to me if she wants to talk. You know, I called him just before the show went on, so it's been more. He's had more than an hour to get back to me. I don't think she will. I'll be glad to talk to her. I mean, it's not the end of the world what she did, but it's
no, that wasn't really a threat either.
Yeah, but it's but think of the crap I would get if I pulled something like that.
Oh, sure.
You know? And the other thing is, why doesn't she have a driver? I would have thought she would have a driver. I guarantee you Mara Healy isn't driving herself around.
I think the biggest offense here is, abusing the emergency lights and holding the phone to her ear.
Well, and also she ran the red light, too.
Of course,
she allegedly ran the red light.
Right. That's what I said.
Oh, yeah.
But, using a cell phone is also illegal.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
But that's not even on her no prosecute list, is it?
I don't know. They made a pretty big deal of that, the fines for that. So that might be upgraded from a minor driving offense.
Well, that's what it always starts at, like seatbelts, right? Oh, we would never make it a surchargeable offense until next year when your back's turned, right?
All right, intro's playing. Hold on.
Okay.
Unspeakable assault on our nation. I joined the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the Vice President to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment.
Seems a bit drastic.
There are hundreds of thousands were on the mall who believe that this election was stolen from him and were for him to be removed from office either from within his administration or by Congress. Would only enrage those people further. So I think that's a last resort.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
With Lindsey Graham out there tweeting, be safe and nobody be violent. You know what? Please be quiet, Lindsey Graham. You built this. People get mad and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
All the chattering skulls are still flapping their jaws today about the riot on Capitol Hill. And again, we condemn the actions of a tiny, tiny group of protesters at the peaceful protest. The vast majority, to coin a phrase that Charlie Parker likes to use, were totally within the law, totally within their constitutional rights, free speech, freedom of assembly, etc. And yet, as 413, one of our texters said, which I thought was a good observation, unfortunately, the Capitol mob is going to become the new Timothy McVeigh. For the next 20 years, libs will point to this whenever their side riots. Yeah, remember Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber? Whenever you'd say, well, geez, there was another Muslim terror attack today by a refugee. Oh, what about Timothy McVeigh? He was a Christian. Actually, he wasn't a Christian. Actually, no. But, you know, there he was. But now they have a new one. And again, an unarmed protester. I thought they cared about unarmed civilians being shot by the police. But there are no riots for defund the police. No stores looted in D.C. But I thought that we're going to take a lot of calls this hour, and we got to have Corey Lewandowski at the bottom of the hour. But I wanted to just go over some of these cuts where they are calling for violence. And again, they're going to impeach Donald Trump, or they're talking about impeaching Donald Trump. Catherine Clark, the drifter from Colorado, who is now a congresswoman from the North Shore, and she's in House leadership. She blew in here about 20 years ago, and now she's a congresswoman, and she's rising rapidly in the leadership. Is she on Eastern Standard Time or Mountain Standard Time? Is she giving up Mountain Standard Time? I don't know. So she says they're going to impeach Donald Trump because of his incitement to insurrection. It's insurrection. This would be a very big word for them now, insurrection. And another big word for him is traitor. Although I must say that the other side is using the word traitor. It's Mitt Romney was the first one in Congress among the rhinos, the turncoats, the Brutuses, to be called a traitor at the airport. Now it's happened with Graham. Lindsey Graham was chased out by Trump supporters. Cut 32. But it can go. It's a bipartisan chant. Al Green of Texas, not Al Green, the singer, not Al Green from South Carolina, who was the Democrat nominee for the Senate a few years back because the voters in South Carolina confused him with Al Green, the singer. This is Al Green of Texas, who settled up with one of his aides, who said that he Conyerized her, shall we say. He was a John Conyers type. But this is Al Green in the airport. Cut 29.
4 more years, guys. 4 more years, Patriots. You are dirtbags. You're a traitor. You are disgracing this country.
Traitor. I like that. I like that. It's a very mixed crew, gender-wise.
Cut 33 is good too, and they chased Lindsey Graham throughout the the hallways of the airport. It was very funny.
Oh, okay. This is okay. So this runs on for a while, but it's Taylor says it's good. I'll take his word for it. Cut 33.
You traitor! You traitor! You traitor! You're a traitor! Lindsey Graham, you are a traitor to the country! You know it was rigged! You know it was rigged! You know it was rigged! You garbage human being! It's gonna be like this forever, wherever you go for the rest of your life!
That was the best part. I knew you'd say that.
It's going to be like this wherever you go for the rest of your life. Wow. Well, as long as it's nothing personal. 844-500-4242. Okay, so this was a super cut that was put together by Grabian. And this is the media justifying and defending violent riots. And it's okay. Chris Cuomo is in this one. The first cut is, I wish we could put this up on video. The first cut is the one where the reporter is in front of the burning building. It's been looted, and then they torched it, because if you torch something after you've robbed it, it destroys all the evidence. It's an old tradition in the protest. I mean, criminal, or should I say, it's a way to get rid of evidence. So it begins with him talking about how peaceful the protest has been, even though this large building, it looks like a brick building, is totally engulfed in flames. It's like a 5-bagger, as they say. Cut 30.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis.
They are strictly principled anti-fascists, and they've taken a principled stand to stand against white supremacists and white nationalists wherever they may show up.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
It says it right in the name, Antifa, anti-fascism, which is what they were there fighting. Listen, there's no organization is perfect. There was some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
I don't care that much about statues.
Shouldn't that be done by a commission or the city council, not a mob in the middle of the night throwing it into the harbor?
People will do what they do.
You're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Do not get it twisted and think that, this is something that has never happened before, and then this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
People get mad and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Most of the major movements in American history have started at the grassroots level and at some point have turned into direct conflict with American government. So remember your history before you judge your present.
Thuggishness is thuggishness wherever it comes from politically, and we should be the first to call it out.
I disagree.
Yeah, we should be the last to call it out. Thank goodness for the looters. That was one of my favorite quotes. People will do what they do. And the name says it all, anti-fascism. How about the name Socialist Workers Party? That says it all, too. There aren't too many workers in the Socialist Workers Party, and there aren't too many anti-fascists in the Antifa, because they are the fascists. I like they're risking COVID. They're risking COVID to go out there and get a new diamond brooch and a bottle of Hennessy and some new running shoes. They're risking COVID. They could be overcome with smoke inhalations after they throw a Molotov cocktail through the front window of the store. God. Oh, it is just so frustrating. We've got so many more cuts to play here from the flashbacks of that was then, and this is now. That was then. Looting was okay. Looting was okay. Protests, you can go out. Don't even bother to put on a mask. It's good for your health to go out and loot a store. All right. 844-500-4242. We'll take some calls in the next segment. With the incoming administration barging their way into office this May, it will cause some economic disturbances. Tax laws are going to change. Your tax burden on selling real estate will increase, no doubt about it. Don't get caught flat-footed and squander the equity in your real estate that you built up over years or even decades. Sell today with J.J. Manning. For over 40 years, J.J. Manning has been the leading auction house in New England. From high-end homes to estates to commercial properties throughout New England, J.J. Manning can get your property sold fast and contingency-free. There is a big reason why Mass Lawyers Weekly voted J.J. Manning #1 for 4 consecutive years. because they have a huge following of bidders who pay cash. When you sell with a broker, you pay the commission. But in an auction, the buyer pays. These are treacherous times in the real estate market. Commercial real estate is in trouble. Some residential real estate in the urban areas is. In suburban areas, it's through the roof. You've got to know how to play this market. To learn more on how to get your property sold fast at the best possible prices, contact Charlie Gill at jjmanning.com. With over 16,000 sales and satisfied clients, you can be the next one. Call them today at 800-521-0111 or go to jjmanning.com and get your property sold. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Radio Network.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Boone's Fish House and Oyster Room on the Portland waterfront. For amazing wood-grilled meats and seafood, visit the home of the baked stuffed lobster, Boone's, Portland.
$200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us. I think it's up to 30,000 people have died. Over 600,000 dead, 600 plus thousand people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people. Now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion, 500,000. 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having two classes of 12, for example. But you know, in the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, the Oval back in May 9, 2019, a $15 million, $15,000 minimum wage. I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us. I think it's up to 30,000 people have died. Over 600,000 dead, 600 plus thousand people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people. Now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion, 500,000. 50,000, a class of...
Yes, sir.
Will you get Corey's email address? I want to send him a woman called me today that I know about a pardon. I know everybody wants a pardon, but this guy's, he tried to help Justina Pelletier. And can you get an address where I can just send him the package and he can look at it if he wants? That's all.
Sure, I'll forward it to you.
Thanks.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Howie Carr is back.
What about the Vice President, Mike Pence?
He's welcome. I think it's important that as much as we can stick to what have been the historical precedents of how, in the circumstance in which an administration changes, should be maintained. And so if the Vice President is welcome to come, I'd be honored to have him there and to move forward in the transition.
God, You know, why aren't they mentioning the name of the woman who was killed, the Air Force veteran, the unarmed victim of police violence? Say her name. Say her name. Remember that? All say her name. Her name's Ashley Babbitt, by the way. How'd you like an extra $961 a year in your pocket? That's how much Gabby customers save per year on average on car and home insurance. See how much Gabby can save you at Gabby.com/Howie. I'm Howie. Go ahead, Taylor. What is the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will there be an impeachment vote in the House next week?
I think there will, yes.
58% say no.
I hope that 58% is right. 844-500-4242. Tony, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, Howie, I think that that 58% is wrong, and let me tell you why. I think they're going to try and impeach President Trump and vote to remove him from office to keep him from holding office again, in essence, to prevent him from running again in 2024.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think that. I don't know. I mean, but the thing is, can they stop him from running just with the impeachment vote in the House, or do they need to have a conviction in the Senate? Because they don't have time to have a trial. Not that they could get a 2/3 vote in the Senate anyway, but there's no way they can remove him. I mean, this is just a fundraising effort. That's all it is, don't you think?
Well, they would need to actually convict him, but Article 1, Section 3, Clause 7 of the Constitution states that judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. So if the charge that they impeach him on is incitement to riot resulting in the death of a Capitol police officer, you can see where I'm going. But I mean, that might be a long shot.
Yeah, I think it's pretty far fetched. If they have to convict him in the Senate, then it's a non-starter. This is just so ridiculous. I mean, they keep saying, "Oh, Trump has neglected everything, and we have to get the country back on track." And they're just doing the same crap that they've been doing for the last 5 years, 5.5 years. Just Trump derangement syndrome run amok. 844-500-4242. Play cut 9. This is Biden talking about. They're saying that he's quoting his granddaughter. I guess Amy Carter could not be reached for comment, so he's quoting his granddaughter Finnegan. That's her name, Finnegan Biden, or maybe it's Biden Finnegan. And so she's talking about. Oh, just listen to this. Cuts. Let's see. What is it? Cut 9.
A little over an hour and a half after the chaos started, I got a text from my granddaughter, Finnegan Biden, who's a senior in her last semester at the University of Pennsylvania. She sent me a photo of military people in full military gear, scores of them lining the steps of the Lincoln Memorial because of protests by Black Lives Matter. She said, "Pop, this isn't fair. No one can tell me that if had been a group of Black Lives Matter protesting yesterday, they wouldn't have been treated very, very differently than the mob of thugs that stormed the Capitol." We all know that's true. And it is unacceptable, totally unacceptable.
Would any of them have been shot unarmed by Capitol Police? Did he mention Ashley Babbitt? Say her name, Dementia Joe. Say her name. Eddie, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Eddie.
Hey, Howie, how are you?
Good.
You know, where can I go to get Pelosi out of there? Remember a few weeks ago she said she held up the COVID relief?
Right.
So she screwed every guy that's on unemployment in this country through no fault of their own. She screwed them for how many months? And now she's, I want to give it to Trump. I'm taking over the nuclear. I don't know how she does that, take over the nuclear stuff. And
yeah, no, I know. It's ridiculous. They're wasting time. They said it was imperative to hit the ground running, and now they just want to. They're like a dog chewing on a bone. There's no meat, gristle, nothing on the bone, but they just can't stop chewing on it. Mike, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'm wondering where the great uniter Joe Biden is these days. He was going to be president for everybody. And he should be the one standing up saying not to crap off with the impeachment, not to crap off with the cancel culture. No more lists of Trump supporters that are going to be canceled or banned from doing this or that, prevented from jobs and all of that stuff. I think if he doesn't step up and do that, I think we're heading for like a real mess, maybe a civil war.
No, there's not going to be a civil. There's not going to be a civil war, but don't But there's going to be a lot more. Unrest. I mean, you're right. He's not uniting the country. There is no reconciliation. They're just talking about avenging themselves, and I want to know, avenge themselves from what? How have they suffered? There's been a lot less persecution of Trump's political enemies than there was persecution. That's what it is, not prosecution. There was some prosecution, but mainly it was persecution of Obama's enemies. Just ask all those reporters he tailed. Ask all the Tea Parties that were shut down by Lois Lerner et al. At the Internal Revenue Service. It was a banana republic. I'm Howie Carr.
A polar vortex is coming, and my friends at Eden Pure have a special deal for my listeners on their strongest heater, the Gen 30. The Eden Pure Gen 30 classic infrared heater uses state-of-the-art infrared heat to warm you to the core. It's even been proven to keep you warmer than your furnace and saves you money on your heating bills every month. The Gen 30 heater doesn't dry out the air in the room. This helps prevent dry skin. If you have pets or young kids around, you don't need to worry about the heater catching on fire or burning them. The Gen 30 heater has an automatic safety tip.
Howie, I had Grace forward you Corey's email.
No, I see it. I got it. Thank you.
2, get ready for the polar vortex and don't be caught with huge heating bills. This sale is 1 week only, so go to EdenPure.com and put in code Howie Deal. You will receive an extra $25 off their lowest sale price and free shipping with code word Howie Deal. This is a great deal, so order today at EdenPure.com. Eden Pure, never be cold again.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was. There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus. I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again. We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that. I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned. The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
We are now effective today requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. I've gotten a number of inquiries from various listeners, viewers, asking what's Corey Lewandowski been up to? What's his take on the recent events? So we're checking in today with Corey Lewandowski from New Hampshire. Corey, thanks for being with us. What's your take on what's happened here in the last few days?
Well, thanks, Howie. Look, you guys know me, Howie. You know my background in law enforcement, first and foremost. You know, as a person who served in the New Hampshire Police Department up here, the fact that we had an officer killed at the U.S. Capitol is disgusting to me. And I've been in the funerals of 3 officers in New Hampshire who were still in the line of duty, and it's completely intolerated. It disgusts me, to be honest with you. These guys have a tough job to do, and the fact that they died, that he died specifically in the line of duty, is really troubling to me and troubling to a lot of people around this country, and it should be. So that's the most important thing. And let me say this. I don't tolerate violence, Howie. You know, I was one of those guys who was a Tea Party movement guy, went out and got the permits to protest at the State House in Concord, New Hampshire, against the governor and the state legislators who were spending too much money, but we did so in a peaceful way. Do I think people are angry? You bet they're angry. Does that mean that you have a right to go and cause complete chaos and havoc? Absolutely, you do not. Nobody has that right. Not Black Lives Matter, not people who are supporting the president, and not anybody in between.
But that was a handful of people, and it's not being portrayed that way in the media, is it?
But it's not, Howie. And look, you know, just look at the media coverage of what we're seeing. You know, they're calling for Donald Trump to be removed under the 25th Amendment. They're calling for him to be impeached again. You know, Howie, I watched police substations being literally bombed with Molotov cocktails, police cars set ablaze on fire. Nobody called for any Democrat elected official to be removed from office or any accountability. Nobody, when the Black Lives Matter were destroying buildings in Washington, D.C. and marching, no one said that the mayor should resign immediately because of the way it's been done. Instead, you know, the media said these were by and large peaceful protesters is what they called them. I want to go right back to what I said just a minute ago, Howie. I do not condone violence on either side of this, but, you know, you have to understand something. The media has their own agenda, and that's what happens when they have been dishonest for so long. People stop believing what the media says.
Yeah, I I have a hard time watching it at night. You know, it's just depressing. It makes it harder to go to sleep if you watch this stuff. You know, even if you know it's not true, it still affects your psyche to watch it. And I don't know. What have you talked to the president lately? How's he handling this latest round of slings and arrows of outrageous fortune?
Well, you know, Howie, what's amazing to me, and I'll tell you this, I've talked to a number of, very candidly, I was in the White House on Tuesday. I spent about 4 hours in the Oval Office having conversations with the president about a litany of things before, obviously, all this transpired on Wednesday. And I've talked to a number of the members of the team since that, including on Wednesday night. You know, what we're seeing is a lot of profiles and coverage. People who've been part of the administration for 3 years, 355 days, deciding, I'm going to leave now. And, you know, I really don't understand. I don't know what they think it's going to do for them. And, you know, the president was very clear, and the team was very clear afterwards. He doesn't condone the violence. He put out a video, I think it was yesterday, saying exactly that. And, you know, the response from the media was it was too little, too late, and it's easy to pile on him because that's what they want to do, and that's what they've been doing for really the last 6+ years since he even talked about running for president.
How about Bill Barr? Let me play. He said the president's conduct yesterday was a betrayal of his office and supporters. He talked about voter fraud, and he talked about the intelligence agencies. But this is what he said himself about voter fraud. Cut 35. I just wanted you to react to this.
I think anybody who's watched these events are with.
When governments, state governments, start adopting these practices like mail-in ballots that open the floodgates of potential fraud, then people's confidence in the outcome of the election is going to be undermined. And that could take the country to a very dark place if we lose confidence in the outcomes of our elections.
But now he says
Bill Barr was, you know, here's the thing, Howie. Bill Barr had the authority to direct the U.S. attorney in Connecticut to release all the information on the fake Russia narrative, the fake Russia hoax, right? File criminal indictments, prosecute the referrals from the Department of the FBI, specifically Andy McCabe lying under oath, and he didn't do any of those things. He did nothing, none of these. And so now he wants to go out and, you know, make these statements. And you know, let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. We know that the mail-in ballot system, as run in most states, was fundamentally flawed. And I know that because it's very simple. When you go back and you look in the 2018 election cycle of the mail-in ballots that were received in a number of these states, the average, and this is just the average rejection rate of those mail-in ballots was 3%. In the world of COVID, we saw hundreds of thousands of increases in those ballots coming in from the mail.
Millions, I would say.
And the rejection rate dropped from 3%, millions. It dropped from 3% to 0.03%. And in, I think, I heard in the state of Pennsylvania, in like 63 counties, there was not one ballot rejected ever. So we know things weren't done appropriately, and that's the frustration of a lot of people.
What about some of these? What about your old friend, General Kelly? General Kelly was saying today that he would vote if he had to vote in the cabinet, which I don't think he ever did, to remove President Trump under the 25th Amendment. What do you think of General Kelly, your pal?
You know, look, John and I don't see eye to eye. You know, you got a guy from Lowell and a guy from where you from, East Boston or something.
Brighton.
Just didn't see eye to eye on a number of things, and this is one of those things. I mean, I think we both agreed that we like the Patriots, and other than that, that's about all John and I ever agreed on. But, you know, when John told me he was there to save his country and not to serve the president of the United States, he was probably the first chief of staff in modern history to actually be there for all the wrong reasons. And, you know, I don't know what he's doing in his career now, but he's kind of faded away. And I respect immensely his service and the service that his family has put forward for this country. And John's entitled to his own opinions. But at the end of the day, he was probably the most politically inept chief of staff to ever serve in that capacity. And that's saying a lot.
I give you a chance to take a shot at Stephanie Gresham, too.
You know, look, Stephanie's a friend of mine. She's a friend. And by the way, Howie, I hired her 6 years ago on the campaign. And I guess I go back to, I don't understand the value proposition of having served in the administration for 3 years, 355 days, and then saying, "Oh, I'm leaving now." Does that mean you're going to just wipe all of that off of your resume that you were there? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Tough it out, gut it out. If your plan was to always leave, then that's fine. But to go out and resign and protest and think that's going to make a difference, you're really only kidding yourself.
A lot of people, including myself and most of the viewers and listeners, are frustrated. Are you frustrated, Corey?
Oh, Howie, look, I'm angry. I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I just left the RNC winter meeting where people down there are frustrated. The Republican National Committee's winter meeting. I was just there this morning. I'm back in New Hampshire now. But people are frustrated. And you know what they're looking for, Howie? They're looking for leadership. And this is where leadership matters. They're looking to find out who's going to actually stop with the hyperbole, stop with the conjecture, and actually come up with a solution. Because I can't look to Washington for that. There's not a leader in Washington, D.C. who I would follow across the street if they told me a car wasn't coming. I just don't see them. And maybe that's a slight over-exaggeration, but not by much. It's very few people who are leaders down there. And as we look to the election in 2022 and 2024, I think you're going to see business executives who have said, I am so tired of career politicians. I'm going to get involved in this. I'm going to hold these guys accountable. I'm going to change the way our system works because I believe over the next 2 years, we're going to see the most radical shift to the left that we've probably seen in our lifetime, if not ever. The Democrats were very clear what their agenda was going to be if they had the opportunity to take over the White House, the House of Representatives, and the U.S. Senate. They are now there, and they're going to move our country so far to the left that socialism seems to be something that most people have never lived through unless they've come from another country that they're embracing. And that is a fundamental flaw. And we, as a Republican Party, have failed. And maybe as Americans, we failed.
Are the president and the vice president really at each other's throats?
I can tell you I had a long conversation with the vice president on Tuesday. As you know, Howie, 4 years ago, I served as the chairman of the Vice Presidential Selection Committee for Donald Trump and was the person who recommended, and ultimately the president, then Mr. Trump, chose Mike Pence to be the vice president. Mike Pence is a very, very good, honorable man. And I understand the frustration level that some people have with Mike Pence, but I also had the opportunity to sit down with who I think is a true constitutional scholar, U.S. Senator Mike Lee. And what he explained to me, and I think it was the vice president's position, was no state in the union actually sent multiple electors. In other words, electors who represented both the Republicans and the Democrats. So the Senate, and by extension, the vice president, had nothing he could legally do other than to reject the electors from every state in the country. And that has never been done before. If there was one state that had sent multiple electors and they ratified it through the state, that would be different. But there was not one state in the country that actually certified two sets of electors. And I think that was the president's frustration. I think he was getting bad advice. I can tell you that as I sat in the Oval Office on Tuesday, there was someone on the other end of the phone telling the president that 6 states had sent multiple delegations of electors. And I stopped the person there and I said, look, I don't want to get into an argument with you, but that's just simply not true. Not one state in the country did that. And I think a lot of people were trying to give the president advice that wasn't thoroughly thought out.
So should the president not have attacked him, not have attacked the vice president the way he did at the speech on Wednesday?
Well, look, I think the problem is what was the vice president's authority to change it? And under the Constitution, he didn't have that authority. I understand the president's frustration level. I really do, because he believes, and I think a lot of people believe, that the election was not upheld honestly, it was not held honestly, and there were people who should not have voted that did, and there were votes that were counted that should not have been. And I believe that to be true, and I think a lot of people believe that to be true. And so his frustration level with the vice president came through on Wednesday. But I know Mike Pence, and I know him as a good, honorable guy. I think he was put in a really tough spot. But even if he had objected, it would not have changed the outcome because there was nothing to object to. That's ultimately the real story, Howie, is there was nothing the vice president could legally do other than to say, all of the results that you have now sent me for all 50 states and the District of Columbia, I'm going to summarily reject and send back to the state legislatures
to then recertify. Because you can't just pick and choose which ones you want to pick.
Nikki Haley, what do you think of Nikki Haley today? She said President Trump will be judged harshly by history for his actions since the election.
She gave a speech last night at the Republican National Committee at the event I was at last night. She gave a speech there, and I can tell you it was received less than honorably by the people who were there. Look, Ambassador Haley, as she likes to be called, and has a way of doing that, is a person who requires a lot of what we call maintenance in the business, Howie. She's a high maintenance person. And I don't think she read her audience very well last night at the Republican National Committee. I don't know if you saw the New York Post story on it that they did. It was up on Drudge for a little while this morning. But not a lot of high praise for the ambassador's speech.
With the famous line, et tu, Brute, who stabbed Trump in the back most among Republicans, Corey?
Well, look, Howie, it's a long list. Can we start with Adam Kinzinger, the
Illinois
from Illinois, right? Yeah. He's definitely there. But look, he's a small potatoes kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
99% of the world has no idea who he is. And the truth is, I asked the question, Howie, why did the U.S. Senate, and I'm not knocking Ted Cruz or anybody else, Josh Hawley, why did they wait 2 months to try and say, hey, let's go have an investigation into the outcome of this election?
Well, maybe they thought, Corey, that the state legislatures in these Republican states where the election was highly irregular would do something. Maybe they thought the Supreme Court was going to do something, because those are the places where it should have been settled rather than the Senate, aren't they?
100% true. But what you and I have both known of state legislators,
yes,
Howie, not exactly tough, not exactly profiles encourage some of those guys, right?
No.
These guys are by and large mealy-mouthed, weak-kneed, and I use that term to include all genders, so I don't get in trouble. How I got to include it. You can't say, father and son on the House floor anymore, but I got to include all the genders.
I know. Corey, we got to wrap it up. We're running late, but I really appreciate you being with us, and thank you. Thanks for being with us, and give our best to the president if you see him before I do. Thank you. We're all looking for ways to save money, right? Especially now. So let me ask you this. How'd you like to keep an extra $961 a year in your pocket? That's how much Gabby customers save per year on average on car and home insurance. That's why when I was shopping for insurance, I used Gabby. This is the time of year that we go shopping for insurance. Well, Gabby takes the pain out of shopping for insurance by giving you an apples-to-apples comparison of your current coverage with 40 of the top insurance providers like Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers. Just link your current insurance account, and in just minutes, you'll be able to see the quotes for the exact same coverage that you currently have. That's what I did. It was fast and easy to use Gabby. I was with my old insurance company through 3-4 different towns and cities. I lived in cities, and I always had the same insurance company. It went back to my days living in Somerville, and my insurance was outdated, and I hadn't checked it for years. I logged in with my my current insurance provider. I saw many different quotes, and I realized quickly that I was overpaying for my car insurance. And you know what was even worse? I had been for 10, 15 years. Gabby saved me hundreds of dollars with a new insurance plan, like I should have done years earlier. Gabby customers on average save $961 per year. I bet that would be nice to have in your pocket every year. If they can't find you savings like they did for me, they'll let you know so you can relax knowing you have the best rate out there. And they'll never sell your info, so no annoying spam or robocalls. You're probably overpaying on car and home insurance. See how much Gabby can save you. It's totally free to check, and there's no obligation. Go to Gabby.com/Howie. That's GABI.com/Howie. GABI.com/Howie. You could save hundreds of dollars. I'm Howie Carr.
The paper boy with a big microphone. Howie Carr.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I may not make it through this story. And I told a story about a fisherman that I met in New Bedford. He's coming off the boat. He's a big, huge man, completely soaked in sweat and salt water.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he started to cry, and I gave him a hug. He was a big, huge guy. It was like hugging a mountain. And then he said, "See those two kids up there?" And he said, "Those are my sons." They were both spectacular football players at New Bedford High School who were given college scholarships, and I ruined their lives. And you hear those kinds of stories every day.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
You just shot an unarmed man. Well, he should have armed himself.
The Howie Carr Show.
I spoke with the guy I have enormous respect for, and I ran against him, Mitt Romney. I spoke to Mitt this morning again. This is a man of enormous integrity, who lives his faith. There are so many more, but there's others who should be ashamed of themselves.
Oh, God. You know, I asked Corey who was the biggest backstabber. Boy, it set the text line on fire. Everybody's got their own nominees. Taylor, write that down. I think that's going to be our poll question on Monday. Who was the biggest backstabber? We have all kinds of nominees here. A.G. Barr is my backstabber. That's from 860. 919. Backstabbers, both my senators from North Carolina, Tom Tillis and Richard Burr. 774. Nikki Haley is the female Mitt Romney. 516. Chris Christie is the worst. I know. You know, Ann Coulter was saying in her column recently, he turned his back on his friends like Chris Christie. Chris Christie, have you seen what he's been saying about him the last few weeks? And Chris Christie is the guy who recommended Christopher Wray to be the new director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Talk about bad advice to give to the President of the United States. Ugh. I don't know. I don't know if we have room for all the backstabbers in the Republican Party, but we can come up with 5 or 6. That may be our poll question on Monday unless something else happens. We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr.
I recently had a dental emergency, and where did I go? perfect smiles. I've said this before, but this
Should probably put Pence on that list, huh?
Can you give me another coffee? Thanks. Appreciate it. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. Right now, when a lot of people don't want to go into the city, Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, and parking is free. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols that Perfect Smiles has taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. Call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile. Change your life.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential
But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble with some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I can't tell you how many times in the past couple of months, somebody I know has told me a story.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
Somebody I know has told me a story about how they got it, and it all goes back every single time to some informal gathering where nobody wore masks, nobody kept their distance, and the virus spread.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world. But it's the only world they know.
I mean, it's pretty common at this point that that's where a big piece of this is coming from.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit.
Howie, Turtle Boy wants to know if she's denying it.
Not really denying it. She's just saying that that people believe the white woman's side of the story. That's what she said, basically.
Okay.
I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantic.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The president has committed an unspeakable assault on our nation. I joined the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the vice president to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment.
Seems a bit drastic.
There are hundreds of thousands were on the mall who believe that this election was stolen from him, and we're...
Howie, do you want me to tweet out that both her and Turtle Boy will be joining us?
Yes.
Would only enrage those people further. So I think that's a last resort.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
With had Lindsey Graham out there tweeting, be safe and nobody be violent. You know what? Please be quiet, Lindsey Graham. You built this. People get mad and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Got some new names for at least one new name for our list of backstabbers. Lisa Murkowski, the senator from Alaska, tells Alaska newspaper Trump should resign. Oh. Et tu, Lisa. Meanwhile,
about Betsy DeVos.
She's kind of more obscure, though, isn't she? But I thought
she's jumping ship before it goes.
I know she is, like Elaine Chao. Although who's surprised by Elaine Chao? I mean, she's married to the turtle, Cocaine Mitch. I mean, that was the least surprising of all of them, except for maybe Stephanie Gresham. Meanwhile, UMass, we've been talking about it. They've had no layoffs or next to no layoffs of anybody who makes, big money. They got all the big money people that continue. They lay off some TAs and some janitors and some cafeteria workers, but all the people making $300,000 are still there. Guess what they're investigating now? UMass Memorial Healthcare investigating whether employees attended, this is the Globe saying this, Trump-inspired riot in U.S. Capitol. So they're finally going to, if you went to the rally, I guess you're going to get laid off now at UMass. Is that the way it's going to work? They're finally going to lay off some people, but it's only going to be the Republicans. And again, weren't the protests mostly peaceful? Weren't the vast majority, as Charlie Parker says, the vast majority didn't do anything wrong? You're going to get fired from UMass for exercising your First Amendment rights? How is this going to work? 844-500-4242. Time now for the chump line.
Can we just send Joker Tsarnaev to the Holyoke Soldiers Home to uphold the original death penalty verdict?
Tsarnaev, the one of the surviving Boston Marathon bomber, the Joker, he's complaining that he only gets to take 3 showers a week. He's suing the Bureau of Prisons out in Florence, Colorado, at the Supermax for $250,000. He says he's being discriminated against because he won't smile at the warden when he makes his weekly rounds. God, that was infuriating to read that last night.
You may steal our election, but you'll never take our freedom.
781 says, Captain from Turtle Boy, DA Rachel Rollins cut off and threatened woman used blue lights to go through red light in state vehicle while leaving South Bay Mall on Christmas Eve, according to BPD report. I just spoke to Rachel Rollins at the District Attorney of Suffolk County. She'll be joining us, and Turtle Boy will be joining us as well at about an hour from now. And Rachel Rollins she says, I'm going to be fiery and I'm going to give my side of the story. So we're going to get her side of the story, and it should be good radio. It's always good radio here on the Howie Carr Show, and it's good TV too, isn't it?
Copy.
The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, remembering Jerry Marsden from Jerry and the Pacemakers, who reminded us, quote, when you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone.
A lot of people jumping on the Bash Trump bandwagon are more afraid of social media than they are of COVID.
Yeah, I think that goes for a lot of corporate executives. I mean, it's not just UMass that is threatening employees who went to the rally. It's some of these corporations are saying it, that they're going to go after people too. And again, if you committed crimes at the Capitol, you should be prosecuted, just like the BLM and Antifa rioters should have been prosecuted. But 99.99% of the people didn't do anything. A lot of people, we talked to a guy that was there. I talked to a guy today who just got back to South Florida. He was up there. He said he didn't know anything about it. And he's a member of the media. He didn't know anything about it until he got back to his hotel room and started watching it on TV. Because the vast majority of people didn't get anywhere near where the trouble was.
Howie, do you suppose Bernie's saying to himself right now, I could have been a contender instead of the bum I've always been?
Let me ask you something. Why the hell would you want to leave the U.S. Senate, one of the softest jobs in the world, to be the cabinet secretary, which is not that bad of a job, but you have to answer to dementia Joe Biden. I wouldn't, if I were a senator, I wouldn't quit in a million years to become the Secretary of Labor. If I were the mayor of Boston, I couldn't get out of the Eagle Room in the Parkman House fast enough. What would he get in a third term if he were reelected?
What do you do as a Secretary of Labor who's against labor?
Well, I mean, it is kind of ironic, though, to be sitting in your office. Bernie would be sitting there with his feet up on his desk. I'm 80 years old. I never worked a day in my life. And now I am the Secretary of Labor. Who says God don't have a sense of humor?
There once was a president named Trump who got us out of the Obama slump. But his claim to eternal fame was sealed the day he put Kegels in the dump.
That's right. That's right. The title of my book, What Really Happened, How Donald J. Trump Saved America from Hillary Clinton. That was his greatest accomplishment. He gave the republic another 4 years. A republic, if you can keep it, said Benjamin Franklin. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Marty said, Mr. and Madam Pelosi's gonna be pissed.
Oh man, Marty's good at taking orders. He's better suited to be someone who takes orders, whether it's a legislator like he was at the State House or a cabinet secretary. He's just he'll just do the bidding of the unions. I mean, that's what he did when he was in City Hall. And again, I repeat, I tweeted it out earlier, his campaign finance report for his most recent one that he has to file by law with the state. 6.2 million he has in his campaign account right now. And he can keep it. He can keep it, not put it in his pocket, but he can keep it in his account and use it for his political aims.
Howie, Joe Biden calling. Come on, man. So President Trump won't be going to the inauguration? Well, I'm going to one-up him. I'm going to 2 presidential inaugurations this year. Mine and Kamala's. I mean it.
You know, that guy may be onto something there.
Hey, I think it's a great idea that Trump's not going to go to the inauguration. After all, how many people does Biden think he can fit in that basement?
That's true. It's not going to be a real inauguration, you know. It's going to be, they call it a virtual inauguration. So they've got this outdoor arena set up there. But who's going to be there? Is he going to be? Is the president going to be there? I don't know. Actually, I haven't read any of the stories because I'm not really all that interested.
I just want to clear something up by making it more muddy. Trump never said he wasn't going to the inauguration. He said he wasn't going to the inauguration on January 20th.
Well, what do you mean? I don't understand it. I don't understand what you mean by that.
There's rumblings out there, Howie. That's all I'm saying. There's rumblings. I can't go into more detail than that.
I hate teases, especially when they're on my own show. Come on. Okay, go ahead.
Forget the COVID. I think the moon bats have rabies.
Yeah. This is Trump derangement syndrome. Is there a stage after stage 4? I guess it's death. Stage 5. They're close to it. They have full blown. That's what they call it. Full blown Trump derangement syndrome, and it doesn't go away. I mean, they've gotten the vaccine. Joe Biden has quote unquote won the presidency. Isn't that the ultimate vaccine? They didn't even need the second vaccine, and it didn't work. It didn't work.
BLM had raided Capitol Hill, would now be the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
Right. That was their mistake, wasn't it? They didn't declare it to be the autonomous zone. They didn't just declare themselves to be anti-fascism. So they're insurrectionists. They're traitors. Although I'm really happy though that if they're going to call us traitors, We can use the word too, you know? They beat us to a lot of other words like racist, you know? The party of the Ku Klux Klan, Jim Crow, massive resistance, the Dixiecrats, they call Republicans racist. Wow.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, well, as long as it's between 1 and 4 p.m. Eastern every weekday. Call 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. And if you didn't hear your message or you want to hear more messages, I'm sure there were a lot of good ones today. It's been a very busy news week. Go to Chopped Chumps. That's posted every evening. Those are the Chump Line messages that didn't make the broadcast airwaves. We post it wherever you get your Howie Carr Show podcast around 7 o'clock. Chopped Chumps. Again, the number is 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line, and we may or may not play your message at this time or on Chopped Chumps. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, remembering Jerry Marsden from Jerry and the Pacemakers, who reminded us, when you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone.
Can we just send Joker Tsarnaev to the Holyoke Soldiers Home to uphold the original death penalty verdict?
781 says, did Biden do a background check on Marty Walsh and discover that he was harassing women in the parking garage in Lowell? Oh, wait, that was identity theft on the part of Senator James Marzilli. Remember that? The perv in the Prius, James Marzilli, the senator from Arlington, he got pinched, lugged in Lowell for making obscene comments allegedly to women in Lowell. And they chased him down in the parking lot, some cops. And they said, what's your name? And he said, I'm Marty Walsh. I wonder if that'll show up in the background check. Who's going to do the background check on Marty Walsh? He's a sex offender in Middlesex County, Mr. President. Not really. It's the wrong guy. Sticking to your New Year's resolution is a matter of making one right decision at a time. For many of us, trying to have a better diet is one of the first resolutions that we try to make every year. If you're looking to institute some healthy habits and improve your lifestyle this year, you need to check out Super Beets Heart Chews. I love these Super Beets Heart Chews. Look at them. They're wrapped in foil just like candy, and they taste good too, but they're good for you. They're good for your heart health. They are great for your heart health, and they're good for your blood pressure and your circulation. You eat 2 a day, 1 in the morning when you wake up, that's what I do, and then 1 before the show, that's what I do. Gives me a burst of energy. It's great. Just 2 Super Beets Heart Chews per day give you the cardiovascular support and promote the heart-healthy energy you need to chase your goals. Super Beets Heart Chews combines non-GMO beets and clinically researched grapeseed extract shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone. When it comes to implementing healthy habits this year, adding Super Beets Heart Chews to your daily routine is an easy decision to make. And now you can get a free 30-day supply of Super Beets Heart Chews plus a free 30-day supply of their new delicious flavor, Super Grapes, with your first purchase by going to superbeetsradio.com/Howie. That's 2 free gifts valued at over $50. These are delicious, and they taste good too, and they're very convenient. They're only available at superbeetsradio.com/Howie. That special deal worth over $50. That's superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
Can we just send Joker Tsarnaev to the Holyoke Soldiers Home to uphold the original death penalty verdict?
Sorry, I just wanted to hear that again.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you today in part by Nauset Beach Inn. Open this winter for the first time in 63 years. Take advantage of their ocean view room rate while rooms are still available. Low price available only at nausetbeachinn.com.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac. He's not alive. You say he lives on.
Not alive. I know. I keep doing that. A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us. I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
Hair loss is not one of There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say? The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
He tells it like it is.
I want you to know that every human being that works for you knows what a diseased hypocrite you are. We all know what you are.
Howie Carr.
Jimi Hendrix. How'd you like to keep an extra $961 a year in your pocket? That's how much Gabby customers save per year on average on car and home insurance. See how much Gabby can save you at Gabby.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will there be an impeachment vote in the House next week?
I think there will be. Boy, these nutty moonbat newspapers and cable TV stations are just going crazy. They want one more bite at the apple. Russian collusion, strike one. Ukrainian hoax, strike two. And now this. It's going to be strike three. But they won't be caught looking. They'll be swinging.
54% say no, it will not get to a vote.
Yeah, people are thinking about it more, and the numbers going down. All right, this is UMass Memorial Medical Health Care. So it's a nonprofit. I guess it's got the name UMass in it. I don't know what its connection to UMass is. I guess it's the UMass Hospital or the UMass Medical School. Here's what they said on Friday. This is their official statement, tweeted out. We have been made aware that one or more of our employees may have been involved in the violence that took place at our nation's capital. our nation's capital. Like not the Capitol or the Capitol building, our nation's capital. They give it more dignity and authority than they normally would. We strongly condemn such behavior if true and have initiated an investigation. Well, again, if they committed crimes, that's okay. But are you going to persecute people who just attended if you can't prosecute them for a crime? That's the problem. 978. Do they need 2/3 to impeach? All the House does is they're like a grand jury. They just need a majority vote. They indict the president, and they send the articles of impeachment to the Senate, and the Senate needs a 2/3 vote to convict and remove from office. And that's not going to happen because you have to have a trial, and they'd have to prepare for a trial. There's not time. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But the House might try to just jam it through, and I assume they'll try to. The Republicans, the Jim Jordans, the Devin Nunes's, the Matt Gateses, they'll try to stop it. But I don't know exactly what the parliamentary procedures are. 844-500-4242. Again, we'll have Rachel Rollins on at 6 o'clock, the District Attorney of Suffolk County. I'm Howie Carr.
Hey, Howie, I see you got a haircut again.
Yes, I did, Grace. It looks good, doesn't it?
It definitely looks better than that haircut you got a few years ago before you met the president. Remember that bad buzz cut, Howie?
Geez, you love bringing that up, don't you?
Well, I just think that your bad haircut was a true testament to the wonderful work of Dr. Highness at DiStefano Hair Restoration, because even though you looked crazy at the time, your hair grew back. And now you look as dapper as ever.
That's true. Dr. Highness did such a wonderful job on my hair. I love waking up every day not worrying about bald spots or a dreaded comb over. I now have a thick head of hair. And the best part of it is, it's my hair. Getting a DiStefano hair restoration was the best decision I ever made.
Well, besides hiring me, right, Howie?
Like I said, Grace, it was the best decision I ever made.
You heard him, guys. Go to hairman.com to get the hair you've always wanted. Get hair like Howie's. Go to DiStefano Hair Restoration. They have 5 locations in New England, and they are open for business. That's hairman.com. Here's 1 minute of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
There's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism, where people are literally not patroning Chinese restaurants. They're not patroning Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus. So,
only in America does when the president tweets about liberation, does he mean go back to work? When we, have this discussion about going back or reopening, I think a lot of people should just say, no, we're not going back to that.
I know it sounds banal.
Do we know how long puppies are allowed to stay with their mothers after a dog has given birth?
I don't.
8 weeks. So the market has decided that women and people who give birth deserve less time with their children than a dog.
So the whole premise of the Green New Deal is that we're screwed.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut.
It goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. Cannot measure the health of our children. Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children. The quality of our education. The quality of their education. The joy of their play. For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
So apparently UMass Memorial Healthcare is associated with UMass Medical School, but its employees are not on the UMass payroll. So they're investigating to see whether any of their workers went to Washington on Wednesday. And I assume that they have to have committed a crime to get fired, or just being there. Was that enough? Who knows? It's time now. It's Friday afternoon. You know what it's time for. Police Blotter Facts
He's
Friday.
Suave, he's debonair.
I am suave and I'm debonair. But now it's time for Police Blotter Facts Friday.
Somebody took out the intro. I've got to re-upload it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Wait, are we doing the Star Wars?
Every
Dun,
state.
dun, dun, dun.
No, that's the Highway Patrol theme that we do for Police Blotter Fact. Every state has a armed unit. In some states, it's known as the militia, the Rangers, or the Highway Patrol. Dun, 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 dun.
He's given us the extended version.
I know.
Yeah, I know. I love Highway.
Give him the hook. All right, keep going.
Maybe we could do maybe we should do Gangbuster. Well, sometime we should have a week where we use gangbusters, where they just break into machine guns. I thought about using that one, but I went with Highway Patrol. But anyway, so here it's a Highway Patrol theme. Just think about it. As Police Blotter Facts Friday begins, you know how it works. All week long, we ask you to send in your funny items from your local daily or weekly newspaper. Send them to grace@howiecarrshow.com, grace@howiecarrshow.com, or you can send them to our fax number, 857-284-8864. And at this time each Friday, we read the funniest entries of the week from your local police log or police blotter in your daily or weekly newspaper, or it could be a standalone story that you found in the paper or on the internet, probably more likely these days on the internet. Send it along, and the funniest ones we read at this time each Friday afternoon. And the two best entries of the week get a nice prize. What do they get this week, Grace?
You're going to get a Buy American, Support America t-shirt.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action.
All right.
All right, here we go, Howie. These are the runners-up. They do not win a prize. I'm going to start off very strong tonight because I think people need it. They need a strong Police Blotter Facts. 2 fishermen have rescued a naked fugitive who they...
Is one of these fishermen the one that Charlie Parker was crying about? back in the 2014 campaign, which we've been looking for him for 7 years now, and nobody's ever been able to find him.
It would make sense because this took place in Australia, so maybe that's why we couldn't find him. 2 fishermen have rescued a naked fugitive who they found sitting on a tree branch in an Australian crocodile habitat.
Crikey, mate! It's not a good place to take a break after you've had 18 Foster's lagers.
Wait, this is freaky because the guy's name is Cam Faust. Said Wednesday he and fellow fisherman Kev Joyner heard that Luke Voskresensky yell for help on Sunday as they set crab traps from their dinghy.
Help, mate! I'm on a lager.
The story sounds really fake, but it's not. Faust said Voskresensky, that's the fugitive, who was covered in mud, cuts, and insect bites, had explained that he had been lost for 4 days, survived by eating snails, and had used his clothes for bits and pieces on the way. So the guy
He'd used his clothes for what?
I think it's an Australian thing. It says he'd used his clothes for bits and pieces on the way.
I don't know what that means.
I think it's sanitary needs.
Oh, crikey. He had a nest made up in the tree. So this is how they figured it out. These fishermen became investigators. They said it didn't make sense to us. He had a nest made up in the tree, and he was only laying a meter above the water. And there were crocs in the water, so he has done well to survive. A naked fugitive. And the other thing is that they've said, we thought he must have had a big night after New Year's and got lost.
That was my theory, too.
And done himself a mischief in the bush. He looked like he needed a beer.
Tie me crocodile down, boy. Tie me crocky down.
So he was in trouble for a lot of stuff, though. So then he eventually, he had cut off his electronic monitoring device, and he was eventually, after they brought him to the hospital, they brought him back to the police station.
Nobody help
They helped him, but they didn't keep him away from the police.
What was the crocodile's name that was menacing him, Grace?
The crocodile's name was Dundee.
Gotcha.
2 city cops arrested after they were found together in a hotel room while on duty.
Uh-oh. They always say when you're in a car, they go, why don't you get a room? So these cops went and got a room, and now they're in trouble.
Yeah, they are in trouble for a dereliction of duties. 2 city police officers were found together in a hotel. This is in Connecticut. While they were supposed to be on patrol, officers Michael DiMeglio and Sarah Londano turned themselves in at the police station. So it was around 12:47 a.m. A dispatcher could not raise Londo on the police radio or on her cell phone. And so police found both their patrol vehicles, dead giveaway, in the parking lot of the Even Hotel.
You see, this is why the Massachusetts State Police have so resisted putting GPSs in their cars, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes sense. You don't want to be tracked if you go off grid, so to speak. The officers were not in condition to respond to calls for service, the release said.
They were not in condition.
I don't know if that just means they were, naked, having, alone time, or
were they in the what was the name of was it the Notel Motel that they had checked into? Were the rates hourly or nightly?
It was called the Even Hotel. EVEN.
The Even Hotel.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
Mr. and Mrs. John Q. Smith.
Yes, exactly.
Just happened to be in uniform.
World's unluckiest burglars arrested after pocket dialing police during robbery. This happened in London. An officer labeled the thieves the world's unluckiest burglars and likened them to the ill-fated crooks in the movie Home Alone. He said one of the pair mistakenly sat on his phone and rang 999, the UK's emergency number, allowing officers to hear the crime in progress. This has happened before, but it's always worth noting. You don't want to butt dial. That's Howie why I don't think you'd be good as a burglar.
No, I do that occasionally.
Yeah, it's another dead giveaway.
603 says those 2 Connecticut cops gave new meaning to the police lingo partner.
Yes.
Ha, 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 ha.
They were close partners.
This is why in some union contracts, the police always insist on having two cops working together.
Naked man flees from police raiding Lowborough cannabis farm.
Where was this?
Lowborough.
Where's Lowborough?
Leicester.
Oh, it's England.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of Brits in the news today.
Well, you know, the country's locked down, Grace. They have nothing to do but commit crimes. You know, the butt dial, the police, invade marijuana farms, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, a drug raid took an unexpected turn yesterday, leading to a nude suspect trying to make his escape. Police carrying out a bus ended up giving chase to a naked suspect who fled the scene. Onlookers were surprised to see the unconventional police chase playing out.
The question is, Boris Johnson, the prime minister, asked me to ask this question. Were the bobbies wearing masks? Was the naked man wearing a mask? They have a mandate in the UK, you know.
Howie, I don't know the answer to that, but because we're talking about this is the same area of London where a man has reportedly changed his legal name to Celine Dion following a night of intoxication. The 30-year-old man, formerly known as Thomas Dodd, was a huge fan of the singer.
Tom Dodd?
Yes.
That was the senator from Connecticut who was basically thrown out of the Senate, and he was Chris Dodd's father.
Well, I don't think it's the same Tom Dodd.
No, obviously not. He's been dead for a long time.
Oh.
But I think it's interesting that Tom Dodd would take a drink under extreme social pressure too. So I guess it runs in the Dodd family.
This guy said he changed his name while watching a virtual concert. And Howie, it's funny you should say that because he said he confirmed he did not intend on changing his name back for the time being, adding that it could be worse. It could have been Boris Johnson. We're just lucky. We're just lucky that he doesn't have virtual concerts because, like you said, they're all locked down and they're bored. So
well, how did he change his name? How did he change his name? I thought you had to go to court to change your name.
So I don't know how it works over there, but he said he got home a few days later. He went out and he came back to this big white envelope full of information about his name change.
Wow. 207 says those police officers in Connecticut give new meaning to the term undercover work.
Indeed. Hey, guys, by the way, Police Blotter Facts Friday is brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. I'm going to have some Piantadosi bread tonight. You really should check it out at your local markets. We love Joe Piantadosi, and their bread is absolutely delicious. One more story before we go to the break, and then we get to our final winners. Wine-drinking villager arrested after allegedly throwing plate of meatballs. The villages are crazy. People get wild.
Is this the villages in Florida?
I think so,
So
yeah.
this is a Florida man.
Well, it's a Florida woman.
Oh, Florida woman. Okay.
A wine-drinking woman was arrested after allegedly throwing a plate of meatballs at a dining companion. That's a weird way to describe the person. On New Year's Day, Linda Mae Beaulieu was arrested on a charge of battery. The village of Liberty Park, in which a man described being hit by a plate which had been thrown at him. He said he had been eating a dinner of meatballs while seated at the kitchen island, and the man told the woman who had been drinking wine that she needed to eat more. That's when she allegedly threw the plate at him, leaving him with a scratch on the side of his face. This was the woman's excuse. She said she was mentally tired and does everything for him. Amen.
It was New Year's too. Do you think that she was a little hazy?
Well, it said she had been drinking wine, and I'm going to say that it was probably white wine because that makes you very feisty. And that's the only way I can guess that someone would be throwing meatballs at someone else.
How do you know that?
It's a known thing. A lot of times,
never heard that before.
A lot of times people drink white wine like it's beer because it's cold and they drink it too fast and then they get angry.
You have a drink question, ask Grace Curley.
I should start a blog.
She's got her own show now. What stations are you on? People, texters want to know what stations you're.
I'm on 3 Benny stations, including WEMJ. I'm also on WRKO. And Howie Carr comes on at 2:45 every day and does a lovely crossover. But we also have tons of amazing guests. And you can go to gracecurleyshow.com to see other stations and to find out more. Hopefully we'll be on more and more stations as time goes on. But I'm getting solid reviews, Howie. Some constructive criticism, but mostly solid reviews.
Yes, you're doing a great job. 201 says, was Tom Dodd the sandwich maker? No, that was his son, who would also take a drink under extreme social pressure. Christopher Dodd, who later went on to become head of the Motion Picture Producers Association, the MPPA, after he left the Senate. So quite a family. And now we see more of them in the UK.
More Dodds.
More Dodds. My friends at Eden Pure have done it again. Starting today, you can get the Thunderstorm air purifier at the lowest price offered to my listeners. With code word Howie, the Thunderstorm is available for under $90 and shipping is free. This New Year sale is for 1 week only and while supplies last. The Thunderstorm is a small device you can hold in your hand, as I'm doing right now, and plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor. This could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell lingering in your basement.
Howie, that damp smell really does. It really comes out in the winter, because in New England, some days we get, snow, and then the next day it's warm again, and the air is just so damp and gross. So I've been using my Eden Pure all the time, and it really does work wonders.
Yeah, it does. It does make it smell like outside after a thunderstorm. It really is good. No filters needed, and the comparable units can start at $600. I've seen them in doctors' offices, and I always ask myself, why didn't they order the Thunderstorm? It doesn't take up floor space, and it's quiet. Take advantage of this 1 week only sale and experience for yourself what all of my listeners and viewers are raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie. That's EdenPure.com, code word Howie. Shipping is free. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
We are now, effective today, requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight, because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac. He's not. You say he lives on.
Not alive. I know. I keep doing that.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us. I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
Either I'm dead right or I'm crazy. You wouldn't care to put that to a vote, would you, Senator?
The Howie Carr Show.
Breaking news: Joe Manchin, the senator from West Virginia, he's always there when you don't need him. He has called on Twitter to suspend Trump in the, quote, in the interest of our national security and public safety. Oh my goodness. More breaking news. Lehigh University in Pennsylvania rescinds Donald Trump's honorary degree.
It's also it's so much virtue signaling. Like, oh, I'm going to condemn Donald Trump the most. Congratulations.
238 lawmakers call to impeach President Trump, all Democrats except for one. His name has been mentioned last hour by Corey Lewandowski, Kinzinger from Illinois. Lord. Officer Mark says, my Connecticut law enforcement officer colleagues were merely perfecting their pat-down search techniques.
All right, Howie, you ready for the winners?
Yeah, let's do the winners. Police Blotter Facts Friday.
Brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. Mexico Tunnel Affair. Man builds secret underground pathway to lover's house.
That's what that epidemiologist in the UK should have done. You know, that was saying that there millions of people were going to die from COVID-19.
Yeah.
And then he invited his girlfriend over to his married girlfriend over to his house.
Yeah, what was his name? He had an interesting name. Dr.
Niall Ferguson, was it? Or Niall Mac something? I don't know. The first name was Niall.
A man in Mexico constructed a tunnel that was joined to his lover's home. Specifically, it was underneath her couch. So when the husband, the two lovers, their names are Pamela and Alberto, and this was in Mexico. But when the husband came home, he knew that the guy was there, so he started checking underneath the bed, and then he finally saw the guy, and the guy ran behind the couch. And then imagine how wild that must be. You see the guy run behind the couch, and then he disappears into like a rabbit hole. And then he figured out that the man had built an underground tunnel.
Come a little bit closer, you're my kind of guy. It's like the old song from Jay and the Americans. Only he didn't run out the front door. He went down the hole in the floor.
Right. But Howie, this is my favorite police blotter of the week. Office manager allegedly stole $2.3 million to buy a horse farm. A former office manager stole $2.3 million from her Illinois employer to finance a private horse farm. Mildred Crowley was charged last week in federal court. Mildred.
That's a name you don't hear much anymore.
Well, the way gas prices are going to go, that's probably a pretty good investment.
This is what's crazy. Crowley wrote on Facebook that her dream is coming true with the horse farm called Bit O' Luck in Southwest.
But it wasn't such a bit of luck for her, was it?
No, it featured heated barns for saddlebreds and hackney ponies, as well as training, lessons, and sales, according to a brochure. She also wrote on her Facebook. Facebook is going to be, the real problem here with people in these crimes. She wrote, "Thanks, everyone. We are still doing work on the house and middle barn. When I pull into the driveway, I can't believe I have been blessed to call this beautiful property
blessed
home."
She's an embezzler.
Crowley is also accused of using the ill-gotten funds on travel throughout the country, restaurant meals, and shopping sprees at department stores.
Oh, Mildred, I told you not to steal all that money. Wilbur told you not to steal it all.
Wilbur! She has also owned at least 11 horses, including a stallion named Fly the W, an apparent reference to the Chicago Cubs slogan. Her attorney says she's a wonderful family woman.
Yeah, tell that to the people she embezzled the $2.3 million from. Okay, Grace, did a great job this week. Thank you very much.
Howie.
We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr. Nauset Beach Inn is open for the first time this winter. Take advantage of their ocean view room rate of only $100. All rooms have 2 queen beds, and they're pet-friendly, too. Nauset Beach Inn is the only hotel on the Cape Cod National Seashore. Contact-free check-in and check-out. Don't hesitate. These rooms go fast. Reserve now at nausetbeachinn.com. That's nausetbeachinn.com.
HowieCarr.com.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac. He's not. You say he lives on.
Not alive. I know. I keep doing that. A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us. I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings of Congresswoman Harris, Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or
chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded.
It's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
What impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You know, you can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
This wasn't on the level.
Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them.
It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado.
So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again.
So of course he's obsessed with me.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you.
Can you print this up for me, that story? You have the number now, or?
Well, she had it before. I just reminded her.
On our nation, I joined the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the Vice President to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment.
Seems a bit drastic.
There are hundreds of thousands were on the mall who believe that this election was stolen from him, and were for him to be removed from office either from within his administration or by Congress would only enrage those people further. So I think that's a last resort.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
She's on.
Tweeting, be safe and nobody be violent. You know what? Please be quiet, Lindsey Graham. You built this. People get mad and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome back. So right before the show started today, I got a call from a friend of mine in Boston, and he said that there was a police report out from Christmas Eve about the district attorney of Suffolk County, and he said turtleboysports.com, it's a blog, good blog, great blog, had the report, and they were going to print it. And so I see the report now on Turtle Boy Sports, and we have on the line with us Rachel Rollins, the district attorney of Suffolk County, and Turtle Boy himself. And let me just read you the headline here. DA Rachel Rollins cut off and threatened woman used blue lights to go through red light in state vehicle while leaving mall on Christmas Eve, according to Boston police report. And I'll just read just one paragraph here, just to so Rachel Rollins can respond, and we'll put Turtle Boy on as well. Complainant called and alleged that on Christmas Eve about 1:30 p.m. she was operating her vehicle in South Bay Mall parking lot towards Mass Ave exit when another vehicle cut her off near Stop and Shop. Lawson described the other vehicle as a blacked out Chevy Tahoe with Mass Reg, the license. She described the operator as possibly being Hispanic or Cape Verdean female, 30s to mid 40s, wearing a navy blue dad cap and hooded sweatshirt. Lawson alleged the woman yelled at her, including, "Today is not the day to try me!" Exclamation point. The woman, this is the police report. The woman then activated emergency lights and exited the parking lot, failing to stop for a red light on Mass Ave while holding a cell phone to her ear. So before I asked the district attorney if she wanted. I first reached out to Turtle Boy, and he said he'd come on. And then I reached out to the DA, and I said, "Do you want to come on with Turtle Boy, or you want to come on after him or before him?" And she said she was willing to come on with Turtle Boy. And I don't know how confident he's just got the report, but Rachel Rollins, district attorney of Suffolk County, thanks again for being with us. And what happened here?
Of course, Howie. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So can I just start by saying this is not a Boston police report. So words matter, guys. This is a citizen's complaint report. So when you use words like Boston police report, that means I call 911, the police come out, they speak to everyone, they look at stuff, and then they write something down as an objective person who has investigative skills. And, it's a document. It's usually used as an exhibit.
Right, but it does say Boston Police Department. It says Boston Police Department.
But it says Citizens Complaint Report underneath it. So look closely. And tonight, Howie, I'm going to write one that says Howie Carr exposed himself to elderly people, and one that Turtle Boy sexually assaulted a feline, and that will be out there, right? And you guys will have to fight that, ghost of just an allegation of something that happened on Boston Police letterhead that you can type in whatever you want to type there. So that's number one. Number two, according to this woman, I apparently spend my time patrolling the South Bay Mall with my lights and sirens on, threatening people and pretending to issue tickets. Have either you or Mr. Boy or Turtle, I don't know what he goes by, ever been to the South Bay Mall? It is a haven for emotionally disturbed people and people with substance use disorder. And I made, the bad mistake of going to Stop and Shop that day. So what I can tell you is in standstill traffic, it took me 6 minutes to move 100 yards. So anything
it was Christmas Eve
that happened. Exactly, Howie. There was standstill traffic on Mass Ave and standstill traffic there. So, according to Maury Povich, the lie detector said that was a lie, right? So what happened here is this person apparently was driving very erratically in the parking lot, screeched to a halt, and then jerked forward and almost coming into the wrong way of traffic, hit my car, but in a bizarre way was coming like 3 miles an hour per inch. So almost like a fish called Wanda. So I beeped. They don't pay attention. 2 beeps. They don't pay attention. As they are coming closer and closer to my car, going the wrong way in traffic while we are standstill in traffic, multiple beeps at a time, I then hit a siren that goes, and her head snaps up. And I say, stop, you're in the wrong row of traffic, and go back to my life. That is the extent of that encounter. There is absolutely no truth to me putting blue lights on and flying around South Bay. Like, Howie, I'm here because I like you, but this is, it's really eye-opening to me that an unsubstantiated allegation is now resulting in my children being scared by the media outside of our house. And it must be wonderful to just be able to write whatever you want, not be investigated. There's no level of investigative journal. Who is this person? You know, I don't know. So,
okay, here's let Turtle Boy respond. He can explain who he is. Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah, first of all, you can call me Aiden, but I guess now you know how Brett Kavanaugh feels about an unsubstantiated allegation coming from a white woman that can seriously cause damage to you. So now I hope you understand how that feels. What I think is happening here right now, I wasn't there.
I totally do. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so now what I'm hearing from you, I wasn't there. This is what this person says happening. I think you're splitting hairs with whether or not it was a police report or she put it. For the average citizen, all you know is you see Boston letterhead. This woman apparently thinks it's serious enough to go to the police. And what I'm seeing right now in her statement about being afraid to come forward, what I just heard from you is exactly why she's afraid to come forward, because you just insinuated that she's some sort of has a substance abuse problem, because you said that's a bad part of town or whatever, and that there's people down there that have alcohol problems. You're victim shaming this person.
What I'm saying is her driving was erratic. I wouldn't have even noticed this woman if she didn't drive the wrong way in traffic and almost hit my car. And the siren, the lights would do nothing because her head wasn't up. It's the siren to get her attention. And I want you to understand, Aiden, as the chief law enforcement officer in Suffolk County, which is Boston, Chelsea, Winthrop, and Revere, we have like a fleet of 30 cars. They all have lights. Most of them have lights in them because we have homicide response. We got to, go to different places. So this is not a matter of like, I've tricked out some car and I'm pretending to be law enforcement. I don't even know who this woman is. And
her name's on the report.
So go ahead.
Her name's on the report.
Wait a sec. Do you really think with what is happening in this country, I don't know what this woman's name is. I've never looked at her name. What I'm saying is you can think that it says citizens complaint report. That is different than a Boston police report. And I think it's disingenuous to say, according to a Boston police report, an officer didn't sign that, right? A citizen did. A citizen did.
Okay, well, okay, so the citizen called up and is making this allegation against you. She didn't know who you were when she first did it, which makes it seem a little bit more credible because it's clearly not politically motivated. If you go to this woman's Facebook page, she's clearly a liberal, so she obviously doesn't have that against you. She's not doing this for political reasons or anything like that. And it seems like what you're doing right now by saying this is why victims are afraid to come forward, because you're a powerful person. You're the most powerful person, really, when it comes to law and order in Suffolk County. And you are telling this woman who is speaking her truth, and you're calling her a liar. Are you worried at all about the precedent that sets?
Wait a minute, Aiden, I'm not calling her anything. I'm telling you what it is that happened. What I find amazing, wait 1 second, sir, hold on, is the level of which you are already questioning me because what? A person do you know how many complaints we get that are not substantiated? And people can just write whatever you want. If this woman is making that allegation, I don't know who she is. All I'm telling you, Aiden, is that is not what happened. And I certainly hope that you would give me the same amount of ability to say what it is that did or didn't, than you are giving a person that has not substantiated a single thing. So for me, that's all I'm saying is just, by the way, I then proceeded to sit in standstill traffic for 5 more minutes before I took a right out of the parking lot. So she is alleging that I think I'm like a federale driving around South Bay. Like, I no, like that's not accurate. And so she can, she's obviously lodged this allegation. I am very comfortable with what I just told you, but what I'm not comfortable with, Aiden, is that, when we issue press reports, we say allegedly, right? And you can say this about Brett Kavanaugh. If there was no actual evidence put forward by that, there's a level that has to be met with respect to before you vilify somebody. Or just leave it out there?
Rachel, did you use the siren properly? I mean, is that allowed to use the siren like that?
You mean as if before somebody's hitting the car?
Right. I mean, Aiden and I don't have sirens on our cars.
Yeah, and I've never had one either, Howie. But the car that I was issued by this office, the same car that Ralph Martin and Dan Conley, I don't think Newman Flanagan had cars back then, or Garrett Burns.
He had a buggy.
That is the car.
Was she using a professional car for personal reasons?
That is the vehicle I am issued and required to drive, because if there is an emergency, we put the lights on and we go. What I'm saying is there would have been an entirely different level of investigation had she actually hit the car, right? And all I'm saying is I wanted the person to not hit the vehicle that I was in, by the way, with children, right? So there are many falsehoods. So Aiden, are you going to tell me my kids weren't in the car because she said that I was in the car by myself? Like, is she right about that as well? Come on.
All I was doing was reporting the allegation that was made against you by this woman who seems very serious about it, because she's posting about it a couple times on Twitter a couple weeks afterwards and seems very concerned, and quite frankly, she seems compelling and believable. And I put this out there because this is documented. She did put this out. I was not there. You're now telling me that something different happened, and that's fine. Neither of us were there, but all I was doing was simply putting this out there. And what I do have an issue with, about half an hour ago, you put out a tweet in which you basically compared yourself to Emmett Till because the media came to your house. You mentioned Carolyn Dunham Bryant, the woman who falsely accused Emmett Till of sexually harassing her and ended up getting him killed. And you said that now I know this is just another in a long line of white women making a false allegation. Do you realize how offensive that could be, that you're comparing yourself to Emmett Till right now?
Who was lynched, a young black kid who was lynched in Mississippi in the 50s.
Wait a minute. Aiden, read what I wrote. First of all, Christian Cooper is... Did I say white women? Read
all
what
three
I
of
wrote,
those are white women,
and then
no?
I'd like my apology.
The three women are white. The three women you listed were white.
Okay, we got to... Can you guys...
who falsely accused black people.
Rachel, can you hang on? Can you hang on or come back in 4 minutes? 4 minutes?
Wait, Aiden, the last thing I do want to say, though, is that they put my license plate out there. And one of the things I did
gotta fly through this
was
read.
when they put a Boston police officer's home out to the public, I quickly admonished that person and said, don't you dare do that. What I'm saying, Aiden, is I don't care what you, Howie, Cooner, Tucker, any of them say about me, but you are never going to threaten my children. That's all I'm saying, is that in this moment we find ourselves in this country, the fact that you think that I don't get death threats because of this job, my 7, 11, and 16-year-old daughters do not deserve any of this. They didn't sign up for it. If you want to follow me wherever I go, you do that. But don't you dare scare my children or show my house so that we can be harmed. That is what I called to say.
Do you want to come back, District Attorney Rollins, do you want to come back after the bottom of the hour and continue this for a while?
Yes, of course I do, Howie. I want to fire it up with Aiden. Aiden should come back too.
Aiden will come back. I'm sure Aiden will come back. Okay, we'll be back.
This is the type of stuff we need to be talking about.
We'll be back. We'll call you back, or you call us back after 6:30, after the break.
Okay.
Okay, hit refresh on your dinner routine in 2021 with HelloFresh. Right now, you could take advantage of their limited time New Year sale and see why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh gives you simple recipes and fresh ingredients sourced directly from growers and delivered to your door contact-free. With more than 23 weekly recipes, there's something for everyone to enjoy, including family-friendly, vegetarian, and low-calorie options. This is really a good deal. It'll get you out of your dining rut. And it's good for you. Say goodbye to never-ending meal planning and prepping. HelloFresh recipe cards are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures. You can get meals on the table in as little as 20 minutes. Plus, by skipping the grocery store, you can save up to 40% on groceries, cut food waste by 25%, and save time so you have more time to spend with your loved ones. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals across 4 boxes, including free shipping on your first box during HelloFresh's New Year sale. For a limited time only, go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals. HelloFresh.com. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of.
Nice job, Howie. Did she make it clear that she was using her vehicle in a professional or personal capacity?
She said she's assigned the vehicle. She has to have that personal vehicle. And It's like, they go to crime scenes sometimes. You know that. All the DAs do that.
Right.
Ryan, Morrissey, all of them.
She was using it as Stop and Shop.
Yes, she was.
Okay.
Yes.
Cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he was texting me from the hospital during a moment when he wasn't on a machine. And he got it at an event where no one wore masks. And he said, now that I have it, I get how brutal this can be.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
And honestly, I'm scared to death, not just for me, but for my family.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever.
So, Howie, I'm going through tweets mentioning your name.
Yes.
And a lot of people think you wrote that thing we posted today.
I
know nowhere does it say you took credit for writing it. But
No. If Sebastian Gorka, because he's a pretty smart guy, pretty well-read guy, if he thought it, maybe I don't know. I didn't mean to. I would never do something like that.
I understand. I thought the fact that it was just a picture and signed from a grateful nation.
Right.
That's enough. Some people don't understand the internet too.
Oh, boy.
That's all right. It is on the website.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I made it clear that a listener sent it to you.
Metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys.
Angry white man.
Angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote. All these angry white people. Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist. Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's insult.
They tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist. The credulous boomer Rube demo.
Y'all elitists are
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading. They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
He's not here to make nice.
Enemy to those who make him an enemy. Friend to those who have no friend.
The Howie Carr Show.
So we'll be back with Turtle Boy and the district attorney after the bottom of the hour. I figured we'd have more time on the bottom of the hour rather than just do a very truncated segment here. How'd you like to keep an extra $961 a year in your pocket? That's how much Gabby customers save per year on average on car and home insurance. See how much Gabby can save you at Gabby.com/Howie, and they really can save you a lot of money. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will there be an impeachment vote in the House next week?
I think there will be, yes.
55% now say no.
All right. 844-500-4242.
Play some Baker cuts.
Yeah, let's play a Baker. I want to you talk about out of control police state. Here, listen, this is amazing. This first cut. Were you amazed by this, Taylor, when he said this?
Yeah, that's exactly why I pulled it. I couldn't believe that they went to the extremes to do this.
That's right. Rachel Rollins was at the Stop and Shop. Apparently, they had cops at every Stop and Shop, Market Basket, etc. in the state. Listen to this. Cut one.
Most people, we believe, based on all the data we saw, did what we would describe as the probably unhappy but public health appropriate thing over the Thanksgiving holiday. Automobile traffic was down. Bus and train traffic was down. Airline traffic was down. We even checked out, what size turkeys people were buying, and it turned out that the big ones were still around on Thanksgiving Day, and all the smaller ones have been sold. I mean, people, for the most part, appear to have done the right things.
That's been a trend for a long time. If you know anything about food, Governor, people are buying smaller turkeys. The family sizes are smaller. Did you hear him say bus and train traffic was down? That's because everything is shut down. People don't have jobs anymore. Are you happy that the commuter rail is down 90%? Are you happy that the rapid transit, so-called, is down 60 to 75%? Good Lord. And now he's talking about peaceful protesting here. Cut 2.
There is nothing wrong, and there should be nothing wrong with peacefully protesting any place, anywhere in America. I really want to make that clear.
You didn't make it clear in your hurried press release on Wednesday afternoon. You basically accused...
Now, I've had people protest outside my house, which my neighbors just love.
Oh, boo-hoo. He's weeping the buckets. Self-pity is not good box office. How many times do I have to say this over and over again? The famous line from the golden age of Hollywood.
I want to know which staffer had that errand of going to Whole Foods and counting the turkeys.
There were multiple staffers, and they weren't this is the Department of Public Health. They decided to stop falsifying drug tests for a couple of days. Maybe. Who knows? We'll be right back with the DA and Turtle Boy. I'm Howie Carr.
My friends at Eden Pure have done it again. Starting today, you can get the Thunderstorm air purifier at the lowest price offered to my listeners. With code word Howie, the Thunderstorm is available for under $90 and shipping is free. This New Year's sale is for 1 week only and while supplies last. The Thunderstorm is a small device you can hold in your hand and plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor. This could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell lingering in your basement. No filters are needed, and comparable units can start at $600. I've seen them in my doctor's offices and ask myself why they don't order the Thunderstorm. The Thunderstorm doesn't take up floor space and it's quiet. Take advantage of this 1 week only sale and experience for yourself what all my listeners are raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie. That's EdenPure.com, code word Howie. Shipping is free.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
He's the first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings. Congresswoman Harris, Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy do on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
Here's 1 minute of CNN's Don Lemon.
What do you say to those Trump voters who prioritize the economy over the president's bigotry? I have a big announcement, and it's somewhere on my body. Because the biggest purveyor of fake news is the president in this country, because he does it a lot. I'm just going to speak from the heart here. What we have witnessed was a total eclipse of the fact.
You thought I went hard in 2019. Watch 2020, baby. There's more to come. I'm a soldier. I'm ready to fight.
Talking about the cost of this parade and where there would be tanks, right? And would there be nuclear weapons? Americans, are you mad as hell? I wouldn't normally address this. As a journalist, I don't really like being the story here. Kanye West, entitled to his own opinion, but is not very bright and not very, when it comes to talking about this issue, not overall. So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
He's not on yet, Howard.
From
We're
the
getting
Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. A woman from Brockton filed a civilian complaint with the Boston Police Department against the district attorney of Suffolk County on Christmas Eve. She says she was a victim basically of a road rage incident, and she illegally used her emergency lights put on the lights. And I know I was thinking about it during the break. We're waiting to get Rachel Rollins back on the line. She wanted to come back on, and Turtle Boy, Aiden Kearney, who broke the story, is with us on the line. And I know a guy personally who got fired by Charlie Parker a few years back because he used the lights. He had a car like one she was driving, and he got fired for using the lights and improperly. And I'm not saying that I don't know whether this was an improper use of the lights or not. But Rachel is back. Rachel Rollins, the DA, is now back on the line with us. Rachel Rollins, thanks for coming back on the air. Was this a proper use of the lights, though? That's what I'm asking. Cops are texting in and saying that that there's specific rules and regulations about when you can turn on the lights.
It's not the lights, Howie. It was I said siren before.
Siren.
I've gotten text from like 11.
Well,
no, apologies.
Same thing.
I used that word. It's a horn. Is the horn that I did. And so what I was attempting to do, the lights wouldn't have done anything for me because the person wasn't looking forward. And it was the slow roll of about to hit my car like a fish called Wanda.
I know that. Yeah.
Going 1 inch at a time. So my point is it was the horn I was trying to blow, and that's when the head snapped up and screeched to a halt.
This was the horn that everybody has. This was the
No, Howie. I apologize. I am beeping my horn just like a normal person.
Okay.
Multiple times. They're not listening. They're not hearing me. I don't know why. And then rapidly, and as they get closer and closer, slowly to my car about to hit me, I hit the horn as in there's like in my Tahoe issued by the Boston Police Department or whoever gets the car. I inherited it from Dan Conley. It looks like a little phone with all these numbers on it.
Yeah.
You push one of them and the lights in the back goes on. You push another one on the side goes on. You push another one, it's a horn. I was trying to make that that noise.
Okay.
And that's when the head snapped up and she didn't hit my car. So I apologize that I'm not using the right, police wording, but that's what it is. It looks like an old school cell phone clipped that you can pick it up like Smokey and the Bandit and speak into it. You can't though. It's like clipped right there in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to do as I still beeped my real truck horn just to have her snap up. And I don't know what she was doing, but that's my only point. That is the encounter that we had. And then I proceeded to like sit silently and move an inch every couple of minutes.
Well, she says you yelled at her.
Standstill traffic.
Did you yell at her?
No, I absolutely said, "What are you doing? Slow down. Like you almost hit my car." But Howie, I don't have tickets, right? Like I don't have ticket books. Our office doesn't issue tickets. So that is just not true. Like it doesn't even make sense because it's not even real, right? Like I don't, the Boston police issue tickets. I don't issue tickets. I'm the district attorney. But
who said anything about a ticket?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Who
I
said
thought
anything about a
that it
ticket?
was alleged that I said to her, "I'm going to give you a ticket."
No.
Or
She said
somebody
today.
said-
Here's the quote: "Today is not the day to try me." Did you say that to her?
No, that's not what I said. Is what are you doing? You almost hit my car. Pay attention. And she's going the wrong way. And that was it. I didn't. That's not a threat. That is a statement, right?
So
Excuse me.
you're saying that the citizen is a liar.
What I'm saying is this is what's happened. This is what happened. Is that
So,
that
yeah, so
is
she's
what
lying.
I said to her. Well, I don't know. What I'm telling you is what I know happened. And if she has it, I mean, Aiden, we've seen this before. This is all I do in my world. There are witnesses that come and testify. Something could happen in a room and the three of us are sitting there and we all see something differently. I never threatened her or said, whatever what I said was, what are you doing? Watch what you're doing. You almost hit my car and you're in the wrong lane. She was facing the wrong way in traffic.
So
that's what I did.
If a citizen made a complaint like this against a police officer, you would investigate it. My question is, who investigates you for this? Is this going to be investigated?
If it is going to be investigated, I don't think it's appropriate for my office to investigate it, Aiden. And that is what I would say. And for me,
I mean, she sounds pretty upset.
And if she is, I think she has absolutely gotten an audience with respect to her being upset that I said you're driving the wrong way and almost hit my car. Aiden, I don't know if you're from Boston. That happens every 13 seconds up and down every single street. Like people are swearing and screaming and giving the finger at each other. I didn't do any of that. I didn't swear. I didn't give her nothing. I just said, and she was facing the wrong way in traffic and just almost hit my car.
Well, let me ask you about something else that
that's all I'm
she accused you of, Rachel Rollins. And again, this is something everybody does. She accused you of failing to stop for a red light on Mass Ave while holding a cell phone to her ear. So that obviously you can't run a stop sign, you can't run a red light, and it's against the law to have a handheld cell phone now in the state. So did you do that or not?
No, I don't believe that is accurate either. And if I'm holding no, I don't believe I did that. And I certainly did not have lights on doing any of that. First of all, Howie, it was Christmas Eve in the middle of the day. It was the slowest I've ever moved in a car. I could have walked and got home quicker. So that's all I'm saying. And Aiden, for me, I'm not being, controversial, but let's think about how many drug lab certs we've seen from Dukin and Farrak that you would be, this is a member of law enforcement and it says that these are drugs. And now we know, oh, wait a minute, Farrak was snorting 93% of that and Dukin was just lying about everything. What we know now is that. I'm not saying that's this woman. All I'm saying is, I don't want to be vilified. No, Aiden, what I'm saying is if you give this report full validation, then you have to give my version full validation too. Why are you not giving me the same privilege as this person?
Well, that's what we're doing right now. No?
So
you're sharing, like I'm sharing her side of the story. Now you're sharing your side of the story. You're a lot more powerful than her. And what I don't like, what I don't like here is that like you are making yourself the victim here when you are the person here in position of power. This is a woman who's afraid to come forward for this exact reason, because she doesn't want to be called a liar by a powerful person. You are one of the most powerful people in Suffolk County, whether or not you recognize that, but yet you're playing the victim. You're bringing the kids up. Nobody talked about your kids. Nobody mentioned your kids in this article.
Rachel,
Why would you bring that up?
she said on her social media, I have been told there's a chance I will face retaliation for speaking up. Will she face retaliation? I know what you're going to say, but will she face retaliation?
How will I retaliate against her? I don't even know who she is. I'm not retaliating against this woman. I don't know who she is. No, certainly not for me. And if she's alleging that, excuse me?
Don't you think for transparency's sake, I mean, there's cameras everywhere. For transparency's sake, there's cameras everywhere. This could be resolved rather quickly.
What do you mean this could be resolved? You want me to reach out to her?
We could see it.
I didn't hear.
No, like if you pull some if you pull some cameras, you can see whether or not you went through a red light. That's what she alleged.
Aiden, I am telling you right now that this is exactly why, and take away this woman for a minute. You want me to pull footage to see if someone ran a red light, and we've had 50 homicides in Suffolk County since March. 50 people died, right? All of those families, I put good money on it to call the Globe and the Herald to ask, why aren't you talking about my son that was murdered? None of this investigative journalism is happening for those families, which overwhelmingly live, right?
Twitter permanently suspended Trump's account.
Mattapan. But this woman claims that I yelled at her and then drove away. And she is so upset by that she now, merits you defending her, Howie defending. That's fine. I'm just saying I am giving this oxygen because media was outside of my house and my children are afraid. And what my tweet was about, Aiden, is the media has never been outside of my house. Not when we had a 20-year low in homicides in 2019. Not when we've had 50 homicides since March when we're in a global pandemic. Not when we have a significant increase in Part 1 crimes in Suffolk County. They don't care about that. What they care about is the sensationalization of this allegation.
But see, and Rachel, if we didn't report this, our readers and our listeners and our viewers would say, you're intimidated by this woman. You're giving her a pass because she's a powerful politician. I mean, it's a public document, isn't it?
You mean the complaint?
Yes,
the public
complaint.
Howie,
yes.
I don't care. Wait a minute, Howie, please, and Aiden, please. I don't care that you're writing about this. All I'm asking is please write about it accurately. Is if you said a citizen's complaint report filed with the Boston Police alleges, I'm all for you. I don't have any problem with that. But what I don't like is when there is, misstatements. And I would be saying this if this were somebody else as well. That's all I'm saying. And Howie, let's be real. If this is media to you, when I'm watching on the TV, we're on the brink of a civil war.
Oh.
And, I hope you're also writing about, like death penalty charges for the officer that was killed in the riot. Like, I think that's a lot more relevant, but it's up to you what you guys are going to do.
There's room for all kinds of stories.
Yeah, other news happens too. Other news happens too. It's okay. Multiple things. But you're just deflecting. All you've done is deflect. You're like, well, there's other things in the news. Therefore, you can't bring up this thing about me. One does not have anything to do with the other, Rachel. You're deflecting and you haven't answered the question. Will you, for the sake of transparency, pull a camera and see whether or not you went through that red light? It should be rather simple.
No, I'm not. I don't think it's appropriate for me to do that. And I'm telling you right now, it's not consistent with anything I stand for. So if I did, what would I do? Write myself a ticket with the fake ticket book? I'm not saying at all. I know I did not have lights on doing that. We were moving an inch at a time. And
okay.
what I'm telling you is absolutely not. I am going to focus on the homicides and the people that are harmed in Suffolk County and make sure we're solving crimes, Aiden. Crimes.
Okay, we're going to have
allegations, crimes.
We're going to have to wrap it up. I really appreciate both of you being with us. So I'm going to let each person make a final statement. We'll start with you, Aiden. If you want to say one more thing, and then we'll wrap it up quickly, though.
If a Boston cop was accused of something like this, there would be an investigation into them. When Rachel Rollins is accused of something like this, there's no investigation because, oh, there's other things going on, and Donald Trump, and there's a riot at the White House, and we can't do that because, oh yeah, other things are going on, so it's a deflection. We don't have time for this. If you want true transparency, Rachel Rollins was elected. She was supposed to be Miss Transparent. This is the exact opposite of that. And what I'm worried about now is that people are afraid to come forward and accuse powerful people of things.
Okay, thank you, Aiden Kearney, aka Turtle Boy. Check out the story at turtleboysports.com. Rachel, go ahead. Rachel Rollins, DA of Suffolk County.
Well, what I want to just reply is I appreciate you, Howie, letting me come on and defend myself. And Aiden, I appreciate you too, speaking with me about this. And whether we agree about it or not, I believe this is the type of thing that needs to happen when there are allegations. And we will both live to see another day. I hear what you're saying, Aiden, and I will absolutely consider that. I hope you also understand that, part of my issue is the police are investigating themselves. If this has been passed on to some other entity to look into it, I have no problem with that investigation happening. What I'm going to tell you is I'm going to focus on the violent, serious crimes that are happening in Suffolk County. I'm very confident that what she is saying is not what I saw happen, but I appreciate you speaking to me about it, and I will call back in if we want to have another discussion. Thank you, Aiden and Howie.
Thank you, Rachel Rollins, District Attorney of Suffolk County. We'll be right back. But every new year, all you hear is new year, new me. Usually that means picking up better habits or trying new things. Like, for instance, I'm trying to make sure that I continue biking every morning, get some exercise when I'm down here in this nice weather. That's what I'm doing. If you're going to take up a new hobby or you're just doing something where you're doing a routine, it's even better when you have amazing audio that will make the experience even better. That's why I recommend wireless earbuds from Raycon. It makes my bike ride a lot more entertaining. It'll make your work, if you're doing just working in the kitchen, if you're following directions in the kitchen, binging an audiobook while learning to knit, powering through a new workout with a pumped up playlist in your ear. Whatever you do in this new year, a pair of Raycons can make any activity easier and a lot more fun. Raycon makes great sound accessible to everyone. Their wireless earbuds start at half the price of other premium audio brands. And guess what? If you think having white stems dangling out of your ears looks ridiculous, that's something you don't have to worry about with Raycons. They come in a range of stylish colorways, but always with a comfortable in-ear fit for a more discreet look. And they don't just look great. Raycons perform wherever you take them with up to 6 hours of playtime, water and sweat-resistant construction, and Bluetooth that pairs quickly and seamlessly. If you've heard me say all this before, so if you still don't have a pair of Raycons after hearing all this, I got to wonder why. Don't you have any New Year's resolutions that you want to make more fun to observe? Raycon's offering 15% off all their products for my listeners, and here's what you've got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's it. You'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order, so feel free to grab a pair and a spare. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/Howie, buyraycon.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
Want more, Howie? Click that.
Howie, I just sent you an email about the Twitter statement on permanently suspending Trump.
In the election.
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
This wasn't on the level.
Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them.
It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again. So, of course, he's obsessed with me.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty. But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. Cannot measure the health of our children. Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children. The quality of our education. The quality of their education. The joy of their play. For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Badges? We ain't got no badges. We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
Howie Carr is back.
In other news tonight, Twitter has permanently banned President Trump from Twitter. This is ridiculous. After close review of recent tweets and the context around them, but specifically how they are being received and interpreted, this is their official statement, on and off Twitter, we have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Oh my goodness. We didn't even have time to get into all the incitements of violence, to use their terminology, by Democrats during the riots in the summer, the peaceful protests in the summer. That's okay. That's okay, but the President of the United States can't say what he's going to say. The flight attendants union wanted to not take the people returning from the rally onto their flights. And apparently now, I'm just looking at the latest news stories. Here's one from the New York Post. And a fed-up American Airlines pilot threatened to dump a plane filled with USA chanting President Trump supporters in Kansas if they didn't behave during a flight out of Washington, D.C. on Friday. I'll put this plane down in the middle of Kansas and dump people off. I don't care. The pilot can be heard saying over the loudspeaker. I don't know. So I appreciate the district attorney coming on, and I appreciate Turtle Boy being on. That was an interesting radio. And, I just think that you have to expect this if you're a public official. I mean, if she's going to hold a spotlight to the police, and she is, and to other people, and some of the people that she's holding the spotlight to, and certainly by the way, she wants to investigate a third chemist, not just Dukan and Farrak, but she's been investigating a third chemist that was at the DPH lab in Jamaica Plain, and I support her 100% on that. All right. Have a good weekend. Don't watch too much TV. It'll depress you. I'm Howie Carr.
Here's how it works.